let's discuss. For our first point here, we have the after party. Now, something to be aware of when it comes to men and dealing with them is not just do they contact you, not just do they give you attention. We want to also be very cognizant of when that guy is giving you that attention or choosing to contact you. A very common theme that you'll encounter when you're dealing with a man who just wants to sleep with you is you'll notice I drew out kind of a pie chart. The times in which he'll choose to contact you, right, will most often not be within this time period, right? The 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. time period. You'll notice that it comes a lot during this time period, the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. time period. Now, let me describe to you a little bit of a scenario that's most likely to happen to you when you're dealing with a man who is just using you for sex, right? So let's say he's in town and he's going out to a nightclub, okay? Guys love clubs. So he's at the club, and after he finishes at the club, he knows that your place is pretty close by the club. So around this 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. time, he chooses to call you and say, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? You going out right now? Maybe it's a Saturday night or a Friday night. He's like, hey, did you go out? You went out to a bar? You with friends? What are you up to, right? And so this is the time he contacts you and he wants to get a quick up to date on what's going on with you and how available you are. And then all of a sudden, right, this is what usually happens when guys are using you. They're not going to be so obvious with it. He'll come up with this story. It's going to sound very magical when he describes it. And he's going to say something along the lines of this. Yeah, so I was just, I was at the club and it's just like I was looking at the lights. And the way the lights were shining in my eyes and the music was blaring, it dawned on me in that moment that the song that was playing on the speakers was like your favorite song. And when I heard your favorite song, it dawned on me how much I care about you and how much I miss you and how little time we've gotten to spend with each other since the last time we spent time with each other. And when that music was playing, I just said to myself, I need to be with you again. And I need to see you again. Can I see you again? This is the problem though. So when you hear that from him, in the time period that you hear it from him, it's going to sound really passionate, okay? It's going to feel really real. And you have your own idea of a princess story, a fairy tale in your mind that you want to happen in your life. So when he says that, it feeds into your delusion that you're a fairy princess, okay? That you're living in this magical world where men can just be hit with emotion and feel you through time and space. And then all of a sudden they realize how much they want you, right? It feeds into that. But the problem is that's not real, okay? In the sense that he's not really contacting you or giving you attention at this time to actually spend time with you. He's giving you this time and attention at this time so he can use you, okay? And I know it can be very difficult to be honest with yourself that this is happening when it's happening, because a lot of times, right, you spend so much time deprived of attention from that guy during this time, this 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. time. In some cases, you can't get a text back from him. In some cases, you barely get any phone calls, any reach outs. He doesn't watch your stories, no interaction from him whatsoever. And so when you like the guy, you start to feel very emotionally deprived, right? In the sense that like, I'm not getting attention from him. I really want to be with him. I really like him, but he doesn't seem to be very interested in me. And so as you get so deprived during this time period, this 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. time, by the time he shows you the slightest bit of attention during the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. time, you're like, yes, finally he notices me. Finally he remembers me. Finally he wants to hang out with me. And then you say yes because you've been so deprived during these other times, right? This is a big mistake. And your mind will also play a trick on you in convincing you that this attention is real, honest attention. It's not actually, right? He's just using this as a way because he knows when he comes over late at night and he's drunk, he's off the Henny, he's off the Casamigos, whatever the kids are drinking, 1942, that's what the kids are drinking nowadays, right? And now is his opportunity to be able to sleep with you and then exit stage left because obviously it's late night and then there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, which we're also going to get into some things that guys will use to play you afterwards. Okay, right? So does that make sense for you guys so far? For point number one, any questions? Any questions? I'm going to try to make sure I always address any of your questions. Oh, I didn't even introduce, the show. I didn't say welcome to everyone individually, but welcome everyone. I just got started. I'm so excited. Chat, I'm so excited. Okay. Does that make sense? Right? Someone said my volume is too low. Let me see Oh, that's why. Okay, volume should be a little bit better now. Tell me in the chat if the volume is a little bit better. I actually had it a little bit lower on my stream deck. Okay, damn, my head's got so much lotion on it. Let's hop into point number 2. Okay. All right. So for point number 2, I want us to discuss this here. And this one's one of those ones. It's gonna look very weird when I first try it out, but don't worry. What I'm saying is definitely true. Let me make sure that the volume is good. There's no clippiness or weirdness in the sound chat, right? Let me make sure. I just made an adjustment. I want to make sure. I gotta make sure it's right. Sorry, Chad. I just had to make sure that the volume was good, better at least. I don't want to hear no clipping. All right. No, it's a new mic. That's why. All right. So point number 2, business. We're gonna draw out a map here. Don't worry about my drawing skills, chat. Just know that this is a map. Don't worry about all that extra stuff. Okay. So we're gonna put, let's say, 1 point here. So we're gonna say right here, this is work. We're gonna put another one here. We're gonna say this is his home. Okay, and we're gonna put another one here. We're gonna label this your home. This is really class here, like really class here, men class. Okay, so let's get this straight, because some of you fall for this. Someone said no clipping going on. Nicole, you know about audio? Interesting. All right, so something to notice here. So for point number 2, let's talk business. All right, very important. This is something that a lot of you, I've seen and helped a lot of you with, and you fell for it very easily, because it's easy to forget about this if you don't realize it's going on. Okay, so I want to kind of break down the concept to you, and then I'll explain what I mean in the concept. Okay, so let's start off here. You have his home. Let's say on the map, his home is right here, right? And you have work. So on a regular basis, he's going to be coming to and from work, okay? This is the area where he works at. This is the area where he frequents at. Let's also say this is the main city, right? So a lot of stuff is going on in this hub and area over here. He spends a lot of time here for both work and leisure play, okay? Now, let's say you don't live in that exact area where he works and he has fun. He goes out to the bars and all that other stuff, right? So most of the time, he's never actually asking you to hang out or spend time with you or be around you, all right? Because most of the time that he spends is going on over here. Now, let's say for the sake of example, right? In this hypothetical scenario, he has a business meeting, okay? And this business meeting is happening in your area, right? Your city, your town, however you want to describe it, okay? And in the process of this, business meeting or business trip or business whatever happening in your area, he says, hey, by the way, just wanted to let you know I got this thing going on this coming week on Wednesday, and I'm going to be in your city, and I would love to see you on the Wednesday when I'm in your city having this business meeting, having this event, having this whatever the case may be, okay? Now, for a lot of you, this might seem very innocent, all right? Because you're thinking, oh, well, he's just coming because he wants to see me and he loves being around me and, I'm so cute, I'm so sexy, he can't get enough of me, right? But here's the reality. The reason he's coming into your area is actually not for you. This is the mistake. Your mind will play this trick on you. The reason he's coming to your area is because he already had to be there, okay? He did not say to himself, hey, I love spending so much time with that amazing woman that I'm gonna go out of my way, reorganize my schedule, and then make sure I have some time to go see her. He's not allocating time to you. What he's doing is he's seeing you when it's already convenient for him, when he already has to be in that area, when he already has to get paid in that area, okay? And be in that area as an obligation for whatever it is. In some cases, even it could be a family thing, okay? Whatever the case may be. Now, the reason I point this out to you, and the reason this is a clear sign that he's just using you for sex, is because you'll notice, right? Most of the time, when he's using you or seeing you, when he's already obligated to be in your area, he knows he can get a little cherry on top icing on the cake if he's in your area, sees you for like an hour or two, he already has to be there, and then you feel like you got some attention from him, right? So you feel good about the interaction because you feel like you guys were getting along and you guys were spending quality time together. So he kills two birds with one stone. And then after he gets that, he knows in his mind, he's most likely going to be able to end the night off with being able to sleep with you, and you feel good about the situation because you think he was actually wanting to spend time with you, even though the time he spent with you, he was already obligated to be there. Are we on the same page? Are you getting what I'm putting down? So this is why I want you to kind of take notice of this, right? And take notice of this pattern when you're dealing with a guy. Not that, him wanting to come see you when he has a business meeting or a family thing or whatever thing going on is necessarily a bad thing, but take notice of the pattern of behavior when every time he comes to see you, it's when he already had to be there. Oh, I've got a work thing, so I thought maybe we could hang out and do this. Oh, I've got a business thing, so I thought maybe we could hang out and do this. Oh, I'm in your area, I'm in your town, I'm in your city, right? On a consistent basis, he's never actually saying to himself, hey, I want to make this time for you, even though I don't have any other thing planned in your area. I'm not trying to fit you into an already existing schedule when it's convenient for me. I'm willing to inconvenience myself and make a schedule around you as opposed to just figuring out when I'll be in your area and then only bothering to see you then. Are we on the same page? We on the same page? Okay. All right, let's hop into point number 2 or 3. Sorry. I know it's a little bit low for some of you on YouTube. I'm scared to turn it up too high though, because I don't want it to start. Oops. Oh, that's why. Now it should be a good level for you guys. I didn't want it to start clipping, so there it should be. I figured it out, chat. There, you guys should have regular audio levels now. Okay, let's hop into point number 3. Oh, you guys think this this is funny. It's funny, but like kind of sad. But it's funny, but it's kind of sad. But it's funny at the same time. Okay. But like when you realize it and you take it in, and you know it's the truth, even though it's painful, you'll be able to accept it. And then once you accept it, you can work from there. Okay. Okay, is that a perfect calendar? I think it is. Okay. All right, so we have... okay. Ooh, perfect calendar. All righty. Okay, let's do this like this. We have to have a real honest conversation here, all right? Okay. So for point number 3, we're going to be discussing your period. Now, the reason that this is very important and I want you to pay attention to this is because it's a very telltale sign that a man is just using you for sex. A very easy one to spot. Pay attention to the times when he is the most enthusiastic to see you. And also pay attention to how much information he has about you during that time. Let me be more specific. If you notice that, let's say you're seeing a guy on this Tuesday here, right? You guys have a date here. And then you guys have another date on Friday. And usually around that Tuesday, Wednesday mark, you guys usually see each other at least once a week or twice a week. Let's just say that's the regular schedule you guys are usually on. But let's say for the sake of example, a new pattern is arising where you're starting to notice that he doesn't seem as enthusiastic to see you on the weeks in which he knows you're about to have your period. So for example, let's say on this Friday date, you start mentioning how like you're feeling a little under the weather, or you know that your period is coming because you get this like feeling within your body because you're really in tune with your body, and then you know that your period is coming in the next couple of days. Let's just say you guys have a random conversation like that. And then you start to notice, right, during this Saturday, and then, you know, leading into the Sunday, he usually starts to plan the date for the next week. But then all of a sudden, when now he knows that you're having your period upcoming for this whole next week, he's like, yeah, you know, I got some work stuff. You know, I got homework. My dog ate my homework. I think I got to go to work for extra shifts, make extra money. You know, money runs the world and everything like that. And all of a sudden, you're noticing that when he used to be very enthusiastic to see you all the time, anytime he's free, he'd be calling you on your break. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't seem as enthusiastic to pull up on you, to hang out with you, to go out with you, to do things with you. Why? Because there's no possibility of you guys sleeping together unless he's in some sort of freaked out situation. But most guys, right, will be like, okay, well, she's out of commission during this time, right? In his mind, he's thinking, I can't use her during this time period. So I'll just be honest with you. I know this is going to sound mean. Psychologically, if he's just using you for sex, if you're not available for sex during this time, you're essentially useless to him in his mind. So if he has that vision or idea of you, that you're useless if you're not being used for sex, then he's going to be very reluctant to spend time with you, because he's not going to see the value in spending time with you when there is no possibility of sleeping with you. That's just the reality, okay? So this is what I want you to start getting an understanding of. And I want to be very clear. I don't want you to hear that and then think to yourself, okay, so then that means I should be quiet about when my period is coming. Or that means I shouldn't let him know about my cycle so that he's not able to anticipate it and not hang out with me during this time. No, no, no. I actually would love for you to let him know when your cycle's coming, and let him know the days in which you'll be on your period and the days in which you'll be off your period. Why? Because this will be very clear to you if his energy starts to change. It'll be very clear to you if he's trying to avoid seeing you on those days, right? And I don't want you to say anything, because you don't want to let the men know that you're on to them, okay? You just sit back, you relax, you don't say nothing, and you peep the way that his energy switches on these days, okay? And you let it be known inside your own mind that, oh, I'm seeing the difference now, right? It's clear to me. When you know that I'm not going to be able to be used for sex. Sex is not on the table because I'm on my period, or whatever the case may be. Now, all of a sudden, you're not very keen on hanging out. Now, all of a sudden, you're not very keen on going out on dates because you know ain't nothing coming at the end of that date. Now, you bank that information, and what I would advise you to do is stop seeing that guy. But it's good information for you to have and for you to come to that realization yourself, as opposed to lying to yourself or avoiding having to deal or address the situation in your own mind by saying, okay, maybe I just won't tell him, then I won't get the answer. And then if I don't know, then it's not actually happening. Okay? Does that make sense to all of you beautiful people so far? Very important. Very important. Don't get yourself messed up dealing with a situation with a guy who only thinks of you as useful when he can sleep with you. we on the same page so far? We on the same page so? Someone said yes, Dr. Tommy. That's funny. All right, let's hop into point number 4 of 10. 4 of 10. Knowledge. Knowledge. The key to life. Okay, this one is this one happens quite often. This one is a pro one. Okay. This is a pro one. I want you guys to take this in. This is very good. I'm glad that we're getting to talk about this. This is pro. Okay, they don't teach you this in no class here, except for my class. This is the only class they teach you this in. All right, so I'm gonna show you how this works here, okay? Because I'm telling you, I have guy friends, okay? A lot of you guys are getting played with it. This is such an easy one to play. So I'm gonna show you something and try my best to explain this to you in a way that will make sense. All right, So let's talk about this. For point number 4, we're going to discuss emergencies, okay? One easy new generation trick that the guys will use. Well, maybe this would be the old school player trick, but this is definitely one that happens a lot. When you meet a guy, hang out with this guy, and you guys, whether you want to say make love, sleep together, have sex, bang, however you want to say it, you guys do your thing. What you'll notice is on an ongoing basis, after you guys sleep together, after he busts his nut, all of a sudden, he's going to start talking and speaking with the type of rhetoric that sounds like, I have to go somewhere. I have to be somewhere. There's something that urgently needs my attention, okay? Now, if you're not aware of what's happening, sometimes you can convince yourself that it's not happening because you just don't want to think that this is even a possibility. I'm here to tell you, as your friend, this is always what's happening when you start to notice this pattern. What guys will do, right? They'll sleep with you. Then after they sleep with you, they'll say, oh, well, by the way, I have a work thing. This work thing, very important work thing that I have to wake up very early for. So I either have to leave your place now, or if you're at my place, right, I got to wake up so early. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm going to get no sleep. I've got to be up at 6 a.m. Oh my God, I got to do so much things, right? He's going to start talking like that, even if he doesn't say, I want you to leave. Or even if he doesn't say, I'm leaving right now because I already busted my nut, right? You're just going to hear. He's going to be, the new era guys that are a little bit smarter, they'll have like a waiting period. First, what they'll do before they start giving their excuse, after they sleep with you, they'll start getting on their phone. So you'll notice they'll be pretty silent. They're just on their phone, scrolling TikTok, right? What he's actually doing is he's kind of waiting it out. He's kind of waiting like 5, 6, 7 minutes before he brings up the fact that he's got a lot to do the next day and things like that. Just to kind of cover it up, right? He'll use some sort of excuse. I've got work. Oh, my friend needs me. Oh, my friend's at the club. He needs me to pick him up from the club. He has no ride. It's an emergency, whatever, right? My mom, she's got a mom thing. You know, mom's being mom. My mom needs me to come home right now, see her, have a conversation with her. My mom. Or some sort of arbitrary situation. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Thomas, come on, I'm not no rookie. I've been knowing this. Come on, Thompson. If the guy wants to just leave as soon as he sleeps with me, obviously he's not into me, or obviously he's just using me for sex. But the even pro tip that some of you have not been noticing, and I'm going to have a real conversation with you, okay? How do I say this? Some guys are smart enough to preheat the emergency. I'm going to say that one more time. Some men you will meet that are using you for sex are smart enough to not just say this right after they sleep with you. They will do what I classify as preheating the emergency. Let me explain to you how that works. Instead of just saying, hey, okay, we slept together, I busted my nut, that was a great nut, now I gotta go somewhere. He knows that's gonna give the wrong vibe. So what he'll do instead is he'll preface the fact that later on he's gonna have an emergency by putting on the table that there's a possibility of an emergency later on in the night. For example, right, let's say me and you are hanging out, right? When I meet you, before we actually sleep together, I'm going to say something along the lines of, oh yeah, so my friend was telling me that when he finishes dinner, he might need a ride home, depending on what time he finishes from the dinner. And it's very important that I drive him because I said I was going to pick him up and then we were going to go here and we were going to do this and we were going to do that, right? So I have to be there for him whenever he calls me. This is what I classify as preheating the emergency. So before when you guys had just started talking and seeing each other, right? He's already setting a limit that like later on, at some point, I'm gonna have to go and do something. So you guys will have a conversation. Yeah, you'll have your small talk, maybe watch something, whatever. You'll start kissing, making out, you'll sleep together. Then after you sleep together, he's preheated that emergency. So it's already a seed in your mind that this is something he needs to address. Trust me. 5 minutes after he busts that nut, right? He's gonna then say, by the way, remember the thing that I said I had to go attend for my friend? I had to pick him up from his dinner and then we had to go here to do that and do this? Yeah, he just now called me, perfect timing. I've gotta leave now. But by the way, I told you about this before I busted a nut. and then you know what's going on, so you're not confused that this situation was a situation. I'm not just making it up on the spot, but he is. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm a man. Okay? Me, man. I know. He's making it up. He just preheated the emergency so that it wouldn't look as bad when he says he needs to go somewhere afterwards. Okay? So be aware of that. And once again, if you peep it, I just want it to be on your mind. You don't need to start calling guys out. Hey, you're lying to me. You just want to peep it, observe it, accept it as the reality, and then deal with it accordingly. Okay? That's what we want from you. Are we on the same page? I know some of you guys don't know that. I just gave you appropriate. Don't tell no one I told you that, okay? Don't even tell your friends. We don't want this information getting out too far, okay? Preheating the emergency is, the smart ones do that. I'm telling you the truth. Smart men, they preheat the emergency. They'll tell you that before they sleep with you, okay? I'm just being honest with you. Don't tell no one I told you. We don't want men to know that you're onto them, okay? Just me and you, we'll keep that between us, okay? Let's hop into point number 5. Point number 5, okay? All right. Let's do this. How are we going to draw this out here? Okay. Oh, we'll do this like this. There we go. That's how we'll do this. I draw a little wee-wee there? That was an accident, chat. That was an accident, chat. Let's do this like this. Okay, you here, slender body you have. And we'll do this. We'll put a plus sign here. We'll put... we'll just put drinks. All right, chat. I don't do drugs, so I was gonna list them all out. I don't do enough drugs to list them all out. All right, so for point number 5, we're gonna discuss being sober. Something to take realization of, because some of you might not notice that this is happening. Okay, this one's gonna be very painful, but I'm trying to help you. Just understand the words that I'm gonna say are gonna feel like I'm attacking you or I'm being rude to you. I'm not. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. For men, sometimes they will spend time with you and around you, even sleep with you, penetrate themselves inside of you, and they actually despise you. Like, they don't like you, they don't like your personality, they don't like hanging out with you, they don't like being around you, they don't think you're funny, okay? I'm just having an honest conversation with you, okay? They will still sleep with you though, okay? I don't make the rules, I'm just explaining them to you. What I want you to understand about that though is, if he really doesn't like spending time with you or being around you, but he knows he wants to sleep with you, and in order to sleep with you, he has to spend time with you or be around you, most of the time, what he will do is he'll take you, right? Him plus you, and he'll add any number of these, right? Some drugs, drinking, some substances, smoking, whatever the case. Why? Because being around you and spending time with you is more palatable, more digestible when he can be under the influence of one of these or all of these or multiple of these at once. Because the reality of it is, if he was going to be around you sober, clear-minded, right? No stimulation around him, not a lot of stuff going on, he would realize how much he doesn't like you and how much he doesn't want to be here and how much he feels like he's wasting time around you, spending time with you, especially if it's not coming in the process of sleeping with you, okay? So how do you kind of get an understanding of this pattern is happening to you? If you notice every time that you hang out with a guy, it's centered around any of these, right? So you guys doing drugs together, you guys drinking together, some sort of substances, smoke sessions. I know some of you smokers love your smoke sessions. If you're noticing that every time you hang out with the guy, it comes in the same way, hey, let's meet up, I'll pull up the car, and then we'll have a smoke session in the car, right? What do the kids say? We'll ball up. That's what the kids say, right? Is that not what the kids say? Help me, Gen Z. I don't know. I don't do drugs, all right? They'll say, we'll ball up, right? Let's go ball up, right? So you park the car, you ball up, you smoke, And then what's the first thing you guys are going to do right after you smoke? Now, you're getting horny because when you get high, you get horny, he gets horny, and he gets high, and then you guys sleep together, right? And so you start to notice the pattern, right? Let's roll up. Did the kids not say ball up? The kids say roll. Okay, roll up, right? Sure, whatever. Roll up sounds very generic, very, very like not Gen Z. I feel like the kids say ball up. Anyways, right, these are the things that they'll do, right, around you. And so during this time, it's a lot easier to be around you, a lot easier to spend time with you if he can be under the influence, right? Because he knows he's only really there to sleep with you. That's the most important part, the most important aspect of this hangout. And if he's not going to be sleeping with you, the time where he has to small talk with you, the time where he has to spend time around you, the time where he has to pretend like he likes talking to you, right? That time is really painful for him psychologically, okay? And very unbearable for him psychologically. So he would much rather be out of his mind as much as possible when he's around you in that state where you guys aren't sleeping together so that he can get what he's actually here for and then he can enjoy himself that way, okay? So I know that sounds really mean, but I just want to be honest with you so that we can all be on the same page and you can understand what's going on here when you start to notice this pattern, okay? If a guy really likes you, if he really likes you, he should be able to be around you sober and not have any problem with that. If he has to attach you to some sort of vice here, that's not a good thing, okay? You're not going to be in a good situation because a lot of times, this is a little bit of a side point, but a lot of times, what can happen is a guy will start to use you as his excuse to do one of these. And so he doesn't even like you, actually. He likes sleeping with you, one, and then he also likes using you as the excuse to be like, hey, I'm not an alcoholic, but me and her are getting drunk on a Tuesday afternoon because that's what we feel like doing. But if he was by himself drinking on a Tuesday afternoon, he'd look like an alcoholic, right? So sometimes guys are also using you as an excuse for their own vices. So pay attention to that, right? Let's hop into point number 6 here. 6 of 10. 6 of 10. We on the same page? I know some of you like smoking, some of you like drinking, so can get in your head a little bit because you're thinking, damn, I like doing that too. The kids say roll up. The kids say, let's go roll up. That's what they say. That just sounds so like, I feel like I'm watching like a Disney teen drama when let's go roll up. Is that what the kids actually say? I thought they say something else. They got to say something cooler than that. All right. This one's also important. Okay. We'll do this one like this. This one's a little bit, it takes a little bit of skill to be able to refine your ability to see this and notice this happening. But once I explain it to you, hopefully it'll be saturating in your mind and it'll make more sense to you or be more obvious to you, I should say, as time goes on, okay? So I'm just drawing a couple of bars here so that you can understand this in a visual sense. Okay. All right. I hope this is going to make sense visually, all right? So for point number 6, we're going to discuss engagement. What are we really talking about when I say engagement? The engagement I'm talking about is how engaged a guy will be in conversation with you when the conversation is about sex or the conversation is not about sex. Whether it be in person, over the phone call, or over text, I also want you to start to develop an understanding of a baseline. It's very important with any guy that you date, you establish your understanding of what his baseline is. Baseline energy, baseline engagement, baseline communication. The reason I talk about a baseline is because that baseline will give you an honest representation of what you can expect from him on a regular day. Okay, a day where he's not over the moon, excited, happy, something amazing happened, and a day where he's not down in the dumps, super depressed, something horrible just happened. His baseline will help you know and be honest with yourself about the times in which he's more engaged in the conversation with you and the times in which he's less engaged in conversation with you, okay? The reason I want you to build this correlation for yourself is because it's a telltale sign that he's just trying to sleep with you if you're noticing that his engagement skyrockets above baseline when you guys are talking about sex or having a conversation about sex, and his engagement lowers drastically when you're talking about basically anything else other than sex. Let me give you an example of that. Let's say you establish a guy's baseline in terms of how often he'll respond to your text messages as, okay, he'll respond once every 30 minutes, okay? On an average, if he's at work, if he's doing stuff, he'll usually 20, 30 minutes give me a response, usually doesn't extend past that, okay? On a regular day, he's feeling okay. Now, when we're talking about sex specifically, all of a sudden, I notice his response times go from 20 to 30 minutes to now all of a sudden, he's texting me every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, every 1 minute, okay? He's not even letting me finish what I'm saying, and then he's already typing something back, right? His engagement level from his baseline, his regular baseline, has skyrocketed, okay? Or it could be the same thing over the phone, right? It could be the same thing in conversation in person, right? You also noticing his energy and how engaged he is, how many questions he's asking. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, right, from that baseline, let's say you guys start having conversation about something deeper. You're talking about your family life, or you're talking about something that happened to you at work, or you're talking about something that stressed you out or you're going through or that's really important to you, right? And then when you're having conversation about that, you're noticing his engagement level going down and down and down and down and down, right? He might not be messaging you. So now the regular 20, 30 minutes, that is his baseline, even less than that. He's messaging you in terms of food. Now he's taking an hour. Now he's taking an hour and a half. Or maybe even when you guys were having conversation over the phone or having conversation in person, you're noticing he's not as attentive. Now he's looking around when he's having conversation with you. He's not looking directly into your eyes anymore. He doesn't seem to be asking as much questions. He doesn't seem to care as much. You're feeling the lack of engagement from him in conversation with him, looking at his phone. Now you guys are on it, okay? Crack page, you just said it, right? Looking at his phone, right? A lot of disinterest you're feeling from him. These are things I want you to observe and pay attention to, because these patterns are emerging because you're getting an understanding of what's going on internally within him, in his mind here, right? You're understanding that this engagement level from the baseline is drastically changing between when you guys talk about sex, where the conversation is sexual, and when the conversation is non-sexual, okay? Very important to differentiate the difference between those two because it tells you exactly what's going on up here. Are we on the same page? Okay, someone says it's very worrying. It's good. I mean, if you're recognizing it, that's the best thing, okay? Okay, does that make sense? Hey, someone said, oh, class says the whole period thing doesn't work. Some guys are freaky and they like that red flow. Yeah, you know what? I'll accept that. Some guys you'll meet, and the other point that I gave about the period time, sometimes guys will they like that. I don't know. Everyone got their own thing, but I just, you know, just as a baseline, if a guy's avoiding you during your period, then you know what's up. I know some guys, they're really into that stuff, but that's just, it's nasty. But some guys are really into that stuff, so hey, more power to them. You know, in those cases, you're gonna have to use some of the other things that we discussed to kind of spot that. I don't mind blood or periods in general. It's just I don't understand why people want to have sex on the period. Like, why not just wait this point? Okay, let's hop into point number 7. Okay. All right. Point number 7 here. Okay. So we'll do it like this. Let's say you have conversations like this. Say some here. Okay. Okay, so I know this is kind of drawn weird, but I'm going to describe how this works to you, okay? Point number 7, we're going to discuss the bounce back. When you're having conversations with guys, whether in person, over the text, or over phone call, very important. When you guys are in your flow of conversation, you're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different topics, right? Things are going to be coming up, like you talk about your weekend, you talk about the fam, you talk about sports maybe, some traumas, school maybe if you're in school, right? Just life in general, all these different things. What you're going to notice though is in the flow of conversation, when you hit a bunch of different topics, wherever he's trying to steer the conversation always seems to be back towards something sexual, okay? When you're inexperienced, you won't notice this happening, okay? As you gain more experience in relationships, right, and from learning from me as well, you'll start to realize this is happening as it's happening. When you're talking to a guy, there's nothing wrong with having casual sexual conversation, right? But if you're noticing that whenever he asks a question, whenever he brings up a topic, whenever he has something that he wants to understand better, or, oh, by the way, I remember when you said this about that, it's always something sex related. That's telling you exactly what's on his mind. It also kind of signifies to you what the most engaging part of conversation with you he deems to be, because that's the part of conversation that he wants to return to, because he probably feels it very a lot less engaging for him to talk to you about something, any one of these other things. Your weekend, unimportant to him. Your traumas, unimportant. Life, yeah, right, he doesn't care about that. Work, fam, none of that, right? Sex is the most engaging conversation for him to have with you, because in his mind, if that's what he's using you for, or that's what he thinks you're important for in his life, or that's what he thinks the way that you serve him is, then that's the thing that he's going to say, let's go back to this topic. I want to ask you again about this topic. Let's have a conversation again about this topic, right? And you start to notice that pattern over and over again, bouncing back to the same topic of sex the same way all the time, then that clearly is a sign about how he's just using you for sex. Okay, let's hop into our next one. Our next point. Point number 8. We on the same page, chat? On the same page? That making sense? Any questions? Right? We making sense? Right? Someone says, it's sad that these things are stuff I can sense, and it's women out here who don't pick up on these cues. See, here's the thing, everyone grows up a little bit differently, right? So some women, they don't grow up with a dad. They don't grow up with an older brother, or a brother at all. So some women, they're not able to learn these things other than having to experience them. They're not able to just know that this is happening until they're actually going through it, because unfortunately, as a young woman, you might grow up thinking that life is sweet, like Zach and Cody, and then that everywhere you go, people are just always looking out for your best interest. That's not how the real world works, okay? But sometimes, a guy has to be the one to share that information with you, especially about guys. Let's hop into point number 8. Did I put 11 here? Damn, I must have been ecstatic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I put 10. Okay. So this is 8. So we'll do this like this. I know you guys love talking money, huh? You guys love talking money. Let's do this. So we could even say this. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have a conversation about this so you guys can understand what I mean here. Point number 8 is about money. Now, I want to explain this concept to you because one part of it will seem very easy to comprehend and understand. There's a second part that's less easy to comprehend and understand. I want to explain both so they all make sense to you. When it comes to money, I want you to be paying attention to how willing or unwilling a guy is to spend money on the experience he's going to have with you. Now, I know that whenever you date a guy, obviously you're going to date guys with different financial situations. I'm not saying that the only guys you should consider are multimillionaires, but when you start to notice that a guy you're dating is very unwilling to do anything, even not just spending money on you, I'm talking about like on the experience of going out on a date with you, that he's always trying to keep it like, hey, let's shave off, going and doing something super crazy that's going to cost me a lot of money. For example, like he's not going to obviously want to go on a date to Nobu. But even it could be something like, hey, I don't really want to go on a date to the aquarium. That's going to cost a whole bunch of money, right? I don't want to go on a date to the museum. Maybe the museum is really expensive, whatever the case may be, right? And so he's always trying to say, hey, let's meet at the house, right? Let's, go in the car. I even put $20 here, just maybe that's the $20 he spends for gas, right? Let's go to a movie theater, right? Now, here's the thing that I want to make you aware of, because this is the part that isn't as obvious. Because I know some of you might say, well, yeah, obviously, if he's only asking me to come watch Netflix at his place, then he just wants to sleep with me. If he just wants me to come, spend time in his car, then he just wants to sleep with me. I already knew that. I have that information. Here's the part that a lot of you don't think about. What other guys will do as they're shaving away the price of the hangout, they're also going to be strategic in hanging out with you in scenarios where the possibility of sleeping with you or having sex with you or doing something sexual is most likely. I'm going to explain how this works because some of you don't realize it, okay? He won't just take you to a movie, right? He'll specifically take you to a movie that's been out for a couple of months, that's have a lot of bad reviews, that basically nobody is seeing. That way, when you get into the movie theater, guess what? You guys are the only ones in the movie theater. Or let's say, he'll really push for going on a date to a drive-in, because at a drive-in, even though you're watching the movie, you're still in the car. You're still cuddled up. It's still private, okay? Right? Or he'll take you to places that it can be like, hey, even though we're here, the possibility of us having sex or doing something sexual because we have some element of privacy here is still a very, very high possibility, okay? So guys, as with the money and also with the opportunity, are combining those two things to basically look for, hey, where's the best and most efficient way for me to spend my time with her in a way that will allow me to quickly and efficiently be able to transition from the date to being able to sleep with her as quickly as possible. It's one of the main reasons why I tell you guys, don't have passive dates. Meaning don't go on dates to places where all of the attention is being placed on something else, as opposed to being placed on each other, especially your first few dates. There's no reason to be going on a passive date, right? Because you're not learning anything about him. But most of the time, those passive dates, like going to an empty movie theater, going to a drive-in, right? Things like that, right? It's so private that it really is very similar to just going to his house, because he can still pull a move there. He can still bust a move, and then you can still succumb to peer pressure if you're not, properly planning for this and playing your cards right. Are we on the same page here, right? Am I making sense to you guys? All right. Jazz says, I had a guy who said that he lost some money and he was saving so he couldn't take me on a date, but he could come by to my home. If a guy tells you, that's a great thing that you mentioned there. If you're dating a guy and he tells you that, hey, I'm really low on funds, really low on money, I can't really go out or spend time. Your response, you don't have to be mean or rude about it. You just tell him, hey, I appreciate that. I'm not, judging you. I don't think any less of you, but I do want to give you time for yourself to be able to figure out, your life, figure out your finances and your money situation. So when you figure that out, and I give you the space to do that, if you figure it out, then you can let me know. We can start hanging out. We can start doing stuff again. But I don't want to be, taking your time and energy away from what should be your priority by distracting you and making you feel like I need you to do this or hang out with me, because that should be your priority, right? And you leave it there. That's the best way to respond to that anytime a guy brings up a money issue, because his response should be, if he's really serious about that, should be, you know what, you're right. If I'm in a financial situation where I'm really, really low on funds, I'm struggling, my focus should be there, not on trying to date you when I have no funds or ability to even manage my own situation, right? That's actually a very fair statement. And you're not saying that I don't care about you, I don't want to be with you, and you got to be a millionaire for me to date you. You're just saying, hey, this should be your priority. I want to give you the space for that to be your priority, not put more pressure on you to do for me when you're still trying to figure out you, okay? That's a very fair way to lay it out, all right? And it also serves you because you'll stop yourself from wasting time on a guy by saying, oh, well, I'll be a ride or die, so while you're struggling, I'll struggle too, and then, yeah, I won't get anything in terms of like, I won't get any good treatment because your excuse will always be, well, I don't have money. Well, if you don't have money, then figure out your money situation. I'm not stopping you or going to hold you from doing that. And then when you figure out your money situation, then we can hang out again. Doesn't have to mean that your expectation is that he'll be a millionaire, but it doesn't benefit you or him if he's focusing his time and energy on dating you instead of figuring out his money situation. Very, very, very simple, chat. Sometimes when you make it simple, it's hard for people to tell you you're wrong, or to say that you're being rude. You just lay it out how it is. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's hop into point number 9. Point number 9. Okay. Chatty. This one's kind of funny. It's funny, but like not funny, but it's funny. I drew him with a little clown smile. Clown smile. He's got a clown smile. We'll do this here. Okay. There you go. He's balding in this one. It is a big frown. Okay. All right, let's do this like this, chat. All right. So for point number 9, we're going to discuss irritation. Something I want you to pay attention to when you're talking to a guy, having conversation with him, spending time with him, is his demeanor when you notice that he has just realized there is no potential for sex later. Let me give you an example so you know what I'm talking about. Let's say you're on a date with a guy, and the original plan was for you guys to hang out, and then, you go out for your dinner date, and then afterwards you go back to his house or he comes back to yours, and you guys, drink some wine, have some fun, and we'll see where the night goes. Let's say that was the plan, okay? So much fun. Then when you get to the date, let's say you say, hey, I've had some things come up, right? You're noticing, let's say it's halfway through the date. So an hour goes by, right? He's all giddy, he's excited. Oh, I've missed you so much. I love spending time with you. I'm over the moon, right? Because at this point, he still thinks there's a potential of sex later. He's thinking, oh, when I get back, oh, I'm gonna destroy her guts. I took that honey pack earlier. I'm about to go crazy, right? So he's all ecstatic, he's excited, right? Then, let's say for the sake of example, you tell him, hey, by the way, just letting you know, I love spending time with you, but I do have to be home. And I know we had planned for, me to go back to your place after, but I got to go home after because I got to be up for a work thing, right? This is when you're going to notice the switch, okay? Some guys will hide it. They'll try to. Some guys will be so obvious with it, they're so disgusted they can't even hide it. And you'll just notice their energy switch right on the spot. Right on the spot, you'll notice the switch. And you'll be thinking to yourself, aw, he's just sad because I'm leaving. Aw, he just wanted to spend time with you. No. In reality, most of the time, the reason that his energy is changing is because he's realizing that the potential for sex has just gone down the drain. Okay? Just gone right down the drain. That he has no longer an opportunity for sex later because you're gonna go home after. So now he's realizing, oh my God, I'm not trying to be mean to you, I'm just being honest with you, this is what he's thinking in mind. I just spent 2 hours with this girl and I'm not even gonna sleep with her. This is such a waste of time. Oh my God, this is such a waste of time. So this is what's going on in his own mind, right? So as he's looking at you, he's trying not to say this was such a waste of time, but he's feeling in his mind, this was such a waste of time. Because if he's thinking he just wants to sleep with you, this was such a waste of time for him, right? So you're just noticing the energy switching. You're noticing the frowning. You're noticing, he's not as excited when he's talking to you, when he's describing things and telling you stories. He's not as, wide-eyed. His energy isn't as up anymore. Again, I want you to pay attention to this pattern because it won't just happen once. It'll happen multiple times, right? When you see him for the first time actually take in that the potential of sex is out the window, take a notice of his energy. Because the truth of the matter is, guys who aren't using you for sex, whether or not, you're going to be able to sleep with him afterwards, or whether you're just hanging out with him to spend time with you, he will always enjoy spending time with you in any capacity. The guys who just want to use you for sex will only enjoy spending time with you as long as it means that sex is happening at the end of the spending time together, okay? It's not really about quality time. It's about quality time for sex time. We on the same page? Let's hop into point number 10. The 10 sign. The 10 sign. I love spending time with you guys so much, man. So much. It's like you're here with me. If only we had a live studio. I'm working on it, chat. I'm working on it. Then it won't feel like I'm talking to myself in a room by myself. Let's hop into point number 10. Point number 10. Okay. What? I didn't even write the point. 10. Why'd I draw that like that? All right, let's do this like this, okay? It's like a foot there. Looks like Italy, yeah. Okay, so for point number 10, very important, pay attention. When you're, oops, what the hell? Oh, look at this, chat, look at this. Sorry, chat, I have to restart my live there. That was really annoying. I don't know why they do that. Sorry, chat. The live just disconnected. Okay, we're back on TikTok. Okay, so very important. Pay attention. Point number 10. The surface. Okay? When you're having conversations with guys, take notice of how the conversations take shape, and also take notice of what he's willing or unwilling to discuss with you. What you'll come to realize is when a guy is just using you for sex, he will have a very tough time having a conversation with you about anything really that deep. Now, I always tell you, I don't want you sharing a whole bunch of stuff about yourself, okay? That's deep to a guy you just met. But I do want you to get into the deeper waters of conversation and get him sharing with you some deep things through the questions that you ask, okay? Now, in the process of that, after a while, you're gonna start to notice, right? What is his willingness to have conversations with you about things that are deep? Some guys, right, that like you and want to be with you and love spending time with you will be more than willing to have deep conversations with you about things because they love talking to you and they love this emotional connection that you guys are building. Some guys, because they're more focused on just sleeping with you, they want to avoid building an emotional connection to you because they know they're going to ghost you. And they also know they don't really care about the emotional side of the connection that you guys are having. So whenever you bring up something deep, he's mostly gonna say things like, I don't really wanna talk about that, or that's not really relevant, or don't you think that's a little bit deep? Why are we having such a deep conversation? He'll also say things like this, let's just have fun. No need to be so serious, right? Why we gotta be so serious all the time? Let's just enjoy this. Let's just enjoy the time, right? And you'll notice he's constantly like, hey, I don't wanna go here, okay? Please, let's avoid doing this, okay? Let's avoid getting too deep. Let's avoid talking too much about the emotions and all this other stuff. I don't really want to discuss that, right? Let's stay up here on the surface level, right? When you start to notice that in the conversations that you're having with him, clear sign. He's just using you for sex. I always tell you guys, get as deep as possible as you can with the guy, as fast as possible that you can, because that'll always tell you a lot about where he really is mentally. Guys, see, ghosting you is a lot harder when a guy shares real things about himself that are painful, has real heart-to-hearts with you, and he's actually telling you real secrets of his own life and being vulnerable with you. It's a lot harder to ghost someone when you do that, but it's a lot easier to ghost someone or just treat them like trash or treat them like nothing when you haven't really actually been vulnerable with that person. You've just been telling them a whole bunch of wishy-washy stuff or fake sharing or just pretending to share while they actually do all the yapping and all the talking, right? So make sure you're observing what is the level of depth he's willing to go to. And is he constantly reluctant to go to any level of depth in our relationship, okay? Are we all on the same page? I know I had to restart the live on TikTok, so I apologize. But are we all on the same page here? Do you guys have any questions about the 10 that we just discussed here? My apologies for the live ending. I'll make sure to check that next time on TikTok, okay? You guys have any questions? Right? Someone says last Monday, YouTube cut him off copyright. Yeah, YouTube cut me off for copyright. I got to be more careful what I show on the screen. Okay. All right. So the Fat Muppet, is that your name? That's your name, Fat Muppet. It's literally when a woman choosing these a-hole guys, they deserve being used. Oh, well, I'm not sure if you're a man or a girl, but like, yeah, it's when you choose the wrong person, bad things will happen. But this is the whole point of these shows, is so that you can understand how to not choose the wrong person. Does that make sense? That's what we're trying to help you identify how to not choose. Okay. Someone says, Latoya in the TikTok chat says, I missed it, but we'll rewatch. Yes, for those of you who missed any of the points, came late, or maybe you just came right now, that's perfectly fine. Just go over above my head on the top right of the screen where it says my name. That's my name on YouTube. You could go there and then you can rewatch all the points that I said on the stream. I know it cut out, but you can rewatch all the points there and see it on my YouTube channel just by typing in my name, Tomisin. Someone said earlier, is this pre-recorded? No, it's very live. I'm very here in real life. Okay. Someone says no man should have to pay for cat. Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. What was that? Okay. Jordan says, what happens if you're already friends by that point and it starts becoming romantic, but that's the situation financially? Oh, good question, Jordan. So I'd actually say the same thing applies. So if you're seeing a guy as your friend, okay, he's not really your friend. If you guys start dating, there's clearly some feelings there beforehand. But anyways, let's say you go from friends to starting to date each other romantically, and he tells you he's having financial struggles. Well, then you let him know, I appreciate you being honest with me, and I appreciate you letting me know about your financial struggles. I want to give you the space to figure out what you need to figure out with your finances, address them, if you got to work more shifts, whatever the case may be. And then once you figure that out, if you want to come back and still have a conversation and still date and whatever the case may be, then I'm open to that. But I don't want to impede on what should be your priority at this time. I want to give you the space to be able to figure your own stuff out, not bother you more and try to make it so that like, oh, I expect you to spend time with me. Let's go here. Let's do that. That's a lot of pressure, right? So this is why the way you frame stuff a lot of times will also affect how it sounds and how it's received by someone else. So when you frame it under the lens of like, hey, I want what's best for you. And I don't think it's best for you if when you're already having a lot of pressure on you via your finances, that I put more pressure on you by trying to say, hey, let's date. And let's date and see each other every week or every 2 weeks and let's go here. That's so much pressure. It's unnecessary, right? And see, this is the thing. It kind of puts you in a perfect position, because if he says, no, I want to date you, I want it to be you, I want to be with you, I don't want to stop seeing you, well, then you say, well, my expectation is that if we're going to date, then we have to, like, properly date. I'm not saying that, it has to be, you spend $1 million, but like, I do expect like proper treatment, and I'm not going to allow a bare minimum treatment, or we just hang out at the house or whatever and do nothing because you don't have money, right? Or because you have a situation. I feel like it's better for you to address that thing first. And then once you address it, then, we can continue seeing each other. That way you don't have the pressure on you of all the things that are going on in your life, right? So that's why I say it's usually better to approach it like that. It doesn't make you look like an a-hole, but it also saves you from being with the guy who's gonna like start just using you as a way to like get his cheap stuff off. Does that make sense? Nina says, do you think men avoid getting deep because they may catch feelings? Well, I would say, I don't think that men are necessarily scared of catching feelings. I just think that when they know deep down in their heart, they're not actually here to build. Most of the time, they try to avoid being attached to someone that they know they're going to end up hurting in the end, right? If you think about it, like, if you go into a situation knowing like, I'm not in the position to actually build a relationship, and I know this person wants that, the closer you get to that person and the deeper you have conversation with them, you start to feel bad about the fact that you're treating them like trash, right? So some men with the conscious might just keep their emotional distance from you by not going too deep in conversation, knowing that they're not really going to treat you properly anyways, right? It's kind of the same idea of like when guys don't want to meet your friends or family and don't want to introduce you to theirs as well, because they don't want it to be too real, that if they ghost you, that then it'll kind of feel like they feel bad about it, if that makes any sense, right? KB says they can be emotionally unavailable or they just don't care. Yes, exactly. Someone says, Tricia says, we've been dating for 3 months, then formally courted me Friday, then Saturday, and told me he's in a 6 months relationship, 6 years relationship. Well, I guess you just discovered that that's not really your man, right? Sad realization, but that's not your man no more. That should be the last day you ever speak to him, really. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean, I guess you might want some answers on how that happened, but there's nothing else to talk about. Tricia, if you want a better understanding of your situation, I would advise you go in our Discord and drop your question in there, because that definitely seems like it has some depth to it for me to answer. But the easiest short answer is definitely should be the last day you speak to him, for sure. Labs in the YouTube chat says, my past boyfriend asked me how much I have in my bank account and in saving to buy a house. He asked me about my past exes and body count. Does this count as deep level conversations? No. Okay. So how much money you have in your bank account is not that deep. It's actually a pretty shallow question for man or woman. Body count is also, it's not a shallow question, but like what relevance is it to you guys building a relationship, right? I think it's just more of it's just one of those silly questions that people think they should be asking from TikTok or watching podcasts, right? Your past exes is a valid conversation to be having, because it definitely tells you a lot about that person, what they think, what they feel, what they've been through, what they need to work on, or what they think they don't need to work on, and who they are. Those are good conversations to be having and getting deep into. Body count is an arbitrary question that doesn't really tell you that much about a person, to be honest with you. Someone could say they have 37 bodies. What does that really tell you about them? Okay, it doesn't tell you as much as you think it does, because you need more context than just that. Someone says, do you think a 37-year-old man is looking for a serious relationship with a 23-year-old? Yes, he could be, but also no, he may not be. So let me give you an example. It's really context and case-by-case based, right? You could have a 37-year-old man that's never been in a relationship before, who has no intention of being in a relationship and just enjoys having his money and having fun and doing what he wants to do. A man like that who's dating a 23-year-old is definitely not looking for a serious relationship. But there could be a man who's 37 who has a child and has been divorced or something like that, and he's dating a 23-year-old now, and he's looking to actually build with someone because his last relationship didn't work, and now he wants to kind of change the situation. So you don't want to, you don't, one of the things you'll learn about this show and the things that I teach, you don't want to make a blanket statement about someone without understanding true context and getting in depth with questions. So even though I give you guys examples of things and we talk about different concepts, in order for you to properly apply them, you do have to get more understanding of your specific situation and then your specific guy to then know exactly what the answer is or the best course of action is, right? So I'm more planting seeds in your mind that you can take and use in your life, but it would be impossible for me to just say, hey, just based on that, he's 37, you're 23, and he's ready for a relationship. There's no way I'd be able to, unless you gave me more context, no way I'd be able to just determine that like that. Someone in the chat says, hey, Thompson, what's your experience with long distance relationship? I will be spending 2 weeks with my boo. And we have been in a committed relationship for 5 months and he's arriving in 3 weeks. Okay, LJ, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm not a fan of long distance relationships, not because I just hate them for the sake of hating them. I don't like them because a lot of times guys are really physical people and they find it difficult, just being honest with you, I'm a guy, they find it difficult to build emotional connections and relationships with women who they're not physically seeing and able to touch in person. I don't mean touch you like sexually. I mean like, just physically be able to be around you. The way that men are wired, they it's hard for them to respond to that or to feel as super connected to a woman they're never seeing. What usually ends up happening is in the long distance relationship, he's like, you're emotionally attached to him and feeling like you're building with him. And then he might be talking to you and then having a physical relationship with someone that's in his area. So, but then you don't know that. And then it also makes it, when you don't have any connection to his friends, to his family, you don't know anyone that he knows, it makes it a lot easier for guys in that situation to basically put you to the side where you don't have any real information about his real life. He tells you he loves you and how amazing you are. He drops the phone and then he goes to bed with his wife. And I'm just saying that because I've seen that happen a lot of times with a lot of women where they spend a bunch of time talking to a guy overseas or in a different country or different city, only to realize the whole time he had a girlfriend or he had a wife while they were talking, while they were dating, right? You can't verify stuff that way. So I'm not saying you should never try a long distance relationship or that yours is doomed to fail, but you definitely, I always say with the long distance relationship, you have to be dating a man who's twice as intentional as the average guy. Meaning that like his desire to be with you specifically and date you specifically has to be double the amount of regular guys. Because they have to say, despite the fact that there's other women who are beautiful, intelligent, pretty smart, amazing that are in my city that I can see regularly, I don't want those girls. I want her specifically, and I want to go the extra mile in life, in travel, in money, in finances, in situations to figure out and make it happen so I can be with her. No one else is for me, right? Like, so you have to understand what type of mindset a guy has to be in if he's going to make a long distance relationship work. Because as soon as he starts saying, yeah, she's cool, but there's other girls that are pretty, there's other girls that are smart, there's other girls that I could work with, right? That's the moment you've lost him in the long distance relationship, because then he's going to start saying to himself, well, she's pretty smart, cool to hang out with, but she lives 1,000 miles away. There's another girl that I just met. She's at my work. She's pretty cool and smart, but she lives, 10 minutes away. He's going to start reconsidering. And then, long story short, you're going to realize that one day he's going to wake up and say, yeah, this just isn't for me. And you're going to feel like you wasted a bunch of time, right? Let me go down here because I missed some. Lisa says, you can't be friends with benefits with someone you've been friends with for years. You can't be friends with benefits with anyone. So that's number one. So yeah, but friends with benefits is not a good place to start. Jordan says, I'm not sure why, but even when sex doesn't even seem implied as an option, every time I get to know someone, often going to that deeper level, does things that suggest they do things that suggest they want something, but not. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like you're saying that, when you're going to that deeper level, you feel like they're trying to imply that they want sex from you? What are you trying to ask there? Allison says he was in a 5-year relationship previously, and he told me she left him, yeah, because he wouldn't marry her. So then what are you doing then? What do you want? Do you want marriage? I'm worried there might be commitment issues. He's lied about the contact they still had. Well, Allison, ask yourself a question. If he didn't marry her, why? Because he was in his answer can't be, well, I didn't like her enough, because he was in a 5-year relationship with her. So if he has a problem getting married, do you want to be married? Because if you want to be married, you're with the wrong guy. He basically told you, if you want to get married, you're with the wrong guy. So if you don't want to get married, Allison, right, that's your prerogative. But, if that's the reality you want to live in, then cool. Then maybe this is your guy. But if you know you want to get married, don't waste no more of your time. Why are you wasting more time? He's telling you, I'm not the let's get married guy. I just spent 5 years with a girl, wasted 5 years of her life. He's telling you, I'll waste 5 years of your life, no marriage. So if you want to get married, don't waste your time with me. He's doing you a favor by telling you that. If you are okay with 5 years of your life going down the drain and you're still not married, then cool, spend time with him. But if that's not what you want for yourself, don't spend not a day more with him. He's literally telling you. He's literally telling you. Okay. Nisi says, why can't you be friends with benefits? Nisi, I'm going to answer your question by asking you a question. As a woman, speak for yourself as a woman. How does friends with benefits actually benefit you? Okay. Let's break this down for a second. If you're friends with benefits with a guy, right? You get pleasure, right? You think you get pleasure. What's actually happening? Even if you get pleasure short term, right? You get to sleep with the guy, you catch a body. At some point, even if he has crazy D game, he's D'ing you down so crazy, you're squirting so crazy, orgasming everywhere. After a certain amount of time, you're going to say, I want this to be more than just fun. I'm having lots of fun, but I would have even more fun if we had commitment in this relationship. At which point, you will have screwed yourself. That's the irony. You're screwing another guy to screw yourself. Because when you actually do enjoy yourself and have your fun, you want it to be more than just fun. So then when you say, hey, I love how this is going, but I don't want to be just friends with benefits anymore. I want us to do more, be more, go out. I want us to go out on dates. I want to feel like your girlfriend. I want to feel like you want me. I want to feel like this is serious. He's going to say, wait a second. You said you were good with friends with benefits. We were doing friends with benefits and I was fine with it because I was getting to burst your walls wide open and we were all having fun. Everyone was cool. Everyone was vibing. Why are you not vibing anymore? Go back to vibing. Where are the vibes? You're going to start to feel conflicted because now you're going to feel like I can't address things how I want to address them. I can't hold him accountable. Now he gets to talk to whoever he wants. I'm feeling jealous. I'm feeling emotional. I don't even get to address my emotions. I don't get to feel validated for the ways that I feel emotional or jealous or not seen or not heard because I accepted this contract of friends with benefits a long time ago and now I'm not even having fun anymore. And now I'm just sleeping with him as a way to keep him around, even though I know this doesn't work for me. So very quickly, what feels like it was a situation, Nisi, that was benefiting you turns into a nightmare. And it's a nightmare just spiral that you literally can't get yourself out of because you feel like you either stay with the guy and sleep with him as a friends with benefits and get nothing from it and get traumatized by it, or you don't have the guy, now you feel lonely, now you feel like you wasted your time, and now you feel like you wasted a body. Meanwhile, he gets to sleep with whoever he wants, not commit to you, not be loyal to you, not be accountable to you, and when you're traumatized, he just moves on to the next girl. So ask yourself again, who's actually benefiting in that scenario, in that situation? Okay? It sounds all fun and games when you're just thinking about getting penetrated, but what happens after penetration? Understand, for you as a woman, your mind is, you will never be able to operate like men do, okay? I know it sounds weird coming from me as a man, but I want all of you to understand your best superpower is embracing the fact that you're a woman, embracing the fact that you have emotions, embracing the fact that you'll be emotional, embracing the fact that sex is important to you and it's a spiritual and emotional bond, embracing the fact that most of the experience of sex and connection is mental for you. And that if you don't have the security, that if you don't have, the consistency, that if you don't have the guy that actually is willing to protect and provide for you and all the other stuff that comes with the relationship, you will not be happy, okay? You will not be happy. So we want to set you up for success by, yes, we want you to get penetrated. Yes, we want a guy with a huge D, give you crazy orgasms. You'll have so much pleasure, so much fun. We want that for you. But then outside of that as well, we also want you to have all the other things that make sex actually enjoyable for you in the long term. Because even when the guy has a big D, eventually you start to feel traumatized having sex with a guy you don't feel safe with, you have trauma from, you feel is talking to 18 different girls, that gives you so much anxiety. You're not actually going to feel good about that after a while, right? It's just going to be a very traumatic experience for you. I'm telling you the truth. So I'm trying to help you guys understand, if you really want pleasure, you have to be thinking of the long term for you as a woman. You cannot operate like men. You will not be a man. You're not going to outman men. It's better for you to embrace that you're a woman and work with that. You'll be much happier doing that. I promise you, okay? What if you think you could hit all the marks, but he is not attractive to you? Like, what do you mean? You could hit all the marks for him, but he's not attractive to you? If he's not attracted to you, why would you talk to a guy you're not attracted to? You should be attracted to the guy that you're with. I don't chat. I know some other people will tell you guys different things. If you're coming to me for advice, I do not preach for any of you to be sacrificing your own pleasure to be with a guy who has like money, right? I'm never going to tell you guys be with the guy who's ugly and disgusting so that, you know, because he has money. I'd advise you guys to find a balance between a guy who has his finances straight, but that you're also attracted to, so that you're in between your legs is happy as well, right? We want everywhere to be happy, because if you're with a guy that's disgusting for money, you're not going to be very happy, right? You're going to be very dry. And you're going to be very disinterested. And then your coworker that's big, with broad shoulders, muscly, talks to you like a man, your body's going to start reacting to him in ways that you're going to be embarrassed about. And then you're going to have a problem. You're going to start, I trust me, chat, I've helped a lot of women, okay? So you don't want to be the woman who's orgasming to the thought of another man in the bed that you sleep with your husband or your boyfriend with, okay? You don't want to be in that when you're there mentally, it's a very dark place. So I don't want any of you to be in that place, okay? Justice Liberty says, I will never understand how men can be like that. I wish I could. I mean, I wish I could understand. It's okay, like we all have, for the thing about us being men and women is that we all are just different, right? And it's okay, like I think it's beautiful to embrace the fact that men think and operate differently and women think and operate differently, and together we can make something amazing, okay? And I think that being able to just accept that you are different, or you operate different, or you think differently, or what you want and need is different from what someone else wants and needs, and that's fine, is the best way, I think, to have success in your relationships. Because the more you try to be someone who you're not, I went through that stage as well, thinking that like, hey, maybe my life would be better if I operated like I see these other people operating. But the reality of it is that wasn't within me. That wasn't how I'm built. That's not how my emotions work. That's not the type of person I am. So it's best to just embrace and be honest with yourself about who you are, how you respond to things, and what works best for you. And some guys might be able to sleep with 1,000 women and not care about any of them and be like a sociopath and just have fun and be carefree. If that's not you, that's fine. Embrace the fact that that's not you, and find people who are aligned with how you go about situations. Okay? All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment. By the way, if you guys have any personal questions for me, feel free to go to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or in the link in my description if you're watching on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice, and you can drop your question into me, type it out, and I'll respond with a voice message. I've been behind on them because I've had a bit of a glitch on my website that it's not properly sending out my voice messages afterwards. I don't know why, but I'm going to work on it again today. I will figure out how to send them regardless, even outside the website. But I was having that issue, but nevertheless, I'm going to get it all figured out and answer all the voice messages, because I get a lot. A lot of the questions that I have. I'll get up to date on them by today and tomorrow, okay? Also, for those of you on YouTube who want to ask me a question, the link is just in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice, and then you could send me in a question, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. It should be within a couple of days because I'm going to clear the whole queue that I have. I'm just going to spend all of tomorrow doing all of them. I have so many to do. You guys have lots of questions. Let's hop into our next segment. Our next segment is our reaction segment where I'll be reacting to TikTok videos that you guys have sent in to me to watch. Well, these are more like story times. They're very interesting. So we'll have a conversation, but this one's crazy that we have to have a conversation about. It's like a huge story time. It's like a Who the F Did I Marry part 2. So we'll watch that. We'll have a discussion about that. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up my chair for us to get started. We're going to watch an intermission video while I pull up my chair from Margarita. You guys love Margarita. She's going to be discussing how to detach, choose yourself, even when no one else does. And then I'll join you guys back in just a moment. In the meantime, Margarita, please take it away for these beautiful people
who have mastered the art of detachment. They are okay to be.
So there's a situation here that I discovered on TikTok. TikTok's a very crazy place. In this situation here, there's a woman who, just this title here says what actually happened, just caught a 26-year-old in my husband's bed. So the title sounds crazy, but the story goes a lot deeper, apparently. And it's kind of a version of Who the F Did I Marry, but just from a different person, because apparently she finds out a lot. Now, I don't know everything about this, so I kind of just like put together the videos that she posted, and we're going to kind of both react to this in real time. So I haven't been able to get all the information. We're kind of going to do our little bit of detective work here as well, and watch this and consume this together and see what actually happened. How did she catch this 26-year-old? Because, yeah, I guess crazy, I guess.
I'm just leaving the courthouse on this Friday afternoon. This is my first TikTok, and I am here in a courthouse in Georgia where I just filed for divorce because I made a surprise visit to my husband, who is supposed to be coming back from Kilimanjaro today, and well, found a 26-year-old in his bed, claims that she's his fiance. So it turns out he's got a whole nother life, and I'm gonna sit in my car and process this, and maybe I'll post another TikTok.
Okay, so when I saw this, a lot of questions went through my mind. The first question that went through my mind was, how is it even possible that someone could be in a whole marriage and then realize later on that that person was in their own relationship? Like, how does that work? So I guess there's this, let me see if I can put this on the screen here properly. So there's apparently this video, and this video was supposed to depict the woman actually going into the, I guess, her apartment, and in her own apartment, she finds the 26-year-old woman who is engaged to her own husband. Let's see.
What? Who are you?
Police.
Who are you?
Police.
But who are
His
you?
fiance, and you're not his husband.
I'm not.
Wife. You're not his wife. His kids have been around me. His kids come here. I know who the fuck you are. There's a woman who just broke into. There's a woman who just broke into my house.
Do you know where my husband is? Cause
Yes.
no, this is my husband's house.
No.
I'm his wife.
Hey, they're not married. He literally.
Ma'am.
I found.
Ma'am, this is my husband. I have a legal right to be here. This is my husband's
I'm on
house.
the fucking lease, dude. Me and Eric are on the lease.
Whoa. Whoa.
39.
I don't even know where to begin, because I'm like, okay, so imagine you open the door to your own, what you consider to be your own place that you share with your husband, and there's another woman in there. She's calling the police on you in your place, and she's talking about, I've met your kids and I'm on the lease with your I'd be like, I'm getting pranked. So let's see. So obviously she explains a lot of what's going on. So this is part of the aftermath of her trying to explain like everything that transpired and what the context of that whole situation is. Cause I was shocked. That was the only video I seen. And I was like, chat, we have to discuss this.
Whew. Okay. I'm going to try to get through this. If it's not now, it's never. It's part 4. If you've been following the past 24 hours of my discovery about my husband's double life and his becoming engaged to another woman, not woman, she's a girl, 25-year-old, he's almost 60, and lying and hiding it because he works out of state. All right, so I agree to discuss terms of separation, divorce with him. We meet at a public place for dinner, and things get so much worse.
Okay, so I guess she's gonna tell us how they got worse. Let's see here.
I started off so strong yesterday, and this morning is an entirely different situation. So I meet my husband for dinner. He tells me that he feels bad for this girl. He's been trying to get her to move out for months. He can't get her to vacate the premise. She doesn't have anywhere to go, doesn't have family. He's like giving me all the nonsense, I'm pretty sure. But we do start working on terms for a separation agreement, and he agrees not to go back to stay with her, which whatever, they can have each other, right? But it's really important for the terms of the separation that he agrees not to go back. They're not cohabitating while we're married. I go back to my hotel where I'm at, and I just, instinct, I was like, let me just go see if he went back to the house. And sure enough, his car is in the driveway. So I ring the doorbell a ton of times to make it very apparent that I see you. I see what the situation is. You are not being honest. And his girlfriend calls the police. I'm in my car. I walked all the way out to my car. I'm in the street. I'm just waiting to make sure he does leave. And like he said, oh, I'm just getting clothes. Okay, well, I'll sit here and wait. Whew. It gets insane. The police, one of them's got something to prove, because they take me out of the car, arrest me, detain me without probable cause, just unlawful, throw me in the back of the police car without any AC, no windows rolled down. I have a heat stroke and a panic attack because they leave me in there an hour. Pass out, I'm unconscious, they lay my body out in his front yard, and his girlfriend starts to video, apparently, this whole scene. Okay, I overhear him telling the police officers wild stuff. Apparently, I stalked him back there, that we're not married. It's just beyond a sane person's comprehension. Meanwhile, the detective that comes sits me down. We have a long conversation. She discloses that this girl has told her that I'm not married, that I am just a stalker, crazy person that has been terrorizing my husband's family. Mind you, we just got back from his mother's funeral, a week ago. It is just, I can't even, it's just betrayal and crazy on top of crazy on top of crazy. Whew. So the paramedics come after I'm evaluated. They let me go. But he's just loving this narrative, because apparently he's already groomed this little girl for I don't even know how long. I don't know how long he's been lying to her, but he definitely set it up to where if she ever found out about his wife, that I was crazy, I was estranged, I was whatever. You can't make this stuff up. And if you could, you'd be traumatizing yourself. Like, this is not anything that I have the bandwidth to even file away. All right. So I guess that catches us up. This would be my part 5 in real time.
So actually, the ironic part is what this makes me think about is something totally not related to this, but in a different way. I help a lot of women with, private questions and things like that. So I actually deal with a lot of women that are dealing with married men. I always tell them the same thing, but I get a lot of questions about it. This is one of the main things that married men will do. Often, they'll always paint the picture that their ex-wife or their current wife, it's usually their current wife, is like a monster. She's like the worst thing ever. Oh my God, she's so evil. She's like always trying to take advantage of him. She's so crazy, so insane. Like he can't, wait to get out of the house and not be with her and not be around her. And most of the time the ex-wife isn't anything outside of the norm, but like that's the narrative that men paint when they want to give you, if you're the other girl, right? They want to give you hope by making his current wife sound like a monster. Because if his current wife sounds like a monster, then you'll start to feel like the chances of me and you being together forever and you leaving your current wife is like 10 out of 10. And the more hope I have, the better and easier it is for me to stay, knowing that eventually it'll come to me being able to have you. So guys do that lie all the time, which is why I always tell you guys to never deal with married men or guys with girlfriends, and never listen to their stories about, oh, my relationship's so bad, this is so bad. So if you ever hear that from a guy that is dating a girl or in a relationship or in a marriage, you tell him, oh, if it's so bad, then just leave. And then as soon as, I promise you'll start touching, the situation, my children, my life, the school, my work, the house, the bills, the money, I can't split $1 bill in two. Oh, it's illegal, life. They'll tell you all these excuses, but they won't leave. That's the crazy part. And they'll just pull you deeper into the delusion. Let's see her part 6 here. She has a lot. Oops, this is not the right video. She has another video here. She has lots of other videos here. So that was part 6 or 5. Yeah, part 5. So, okay, this is weird. So let me try and explain to you the context of what we're watching here. The girl, apparently, the other girl went on her her YouTube channel, her own personal YouTube channel, and then proceeded to post a video about the situation, or like about her dealing with the other guy. This woman, the woman that's posted the video originally, she found that YouTube channel, found that video posted, and she's now posting it on her page as evidence of how delusional this girl is. So what we're watching is the other girl's YouTube video about the situation. Very kind of, it's an inception.
Never been like this with anybody, and I feel so fortunate and blessed, and that's like a true divine union, right? And I've never been like this with anyone. Like, I'm always like running. I can be a hellraiser. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love very hard and deeply and passionately.
Sorry, I say to pause it, but for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I want to just show you guys something so you can see the full context here. So for those of you who are wondering what this says on the screen, because it was kind of cut off, it said, God promised her, my husband, it's a divine match. So she's speaking on what this girl is essentially saying in this video, that she feels that God has promised her an already married man. Like that's what she feels in her mind is hers rightfully.
Unfortunately, but with that, everything just happened so fast. Like now it's been 5 months we've been together. And I've never, you know, it's, it saved me, you know, this relationship, and we both say that, it saved us. We need each other, we needed each other, and, I remember, like, when I found out, like, everything was falling apart, I remember being on my hands and knees, and even though I was in contact, I didn't know if this was going to happen, I didn't know if this was right. I didn't know anything yet, and I remember praying to God. No, this was beforehand. Okay, that makes more sense. So before I even found out I had to leave, right before, but I was still freaking out. Like everything was still just becoming worse and worse, and I didn't know what to do, and I was struggling so much financially. And I remember praying to God, crying on my hands and knees, and being like, God, you promised my person would be here this month. Like God did. God has been telling me, even through other people for years, certain traits about my person that I'm going to marry, and told me that I was going to meet the person I'm going to marry this year, and some traits about them, and gave me a month. And I remember begging, and I was like, you promised they're supposed to help me. Like,
Okay. So she believes God promised her a married man. Very interesting. Let's go. I guess this is another video she put. Now I did try, I'll be honest with you, chat. When I saw her post this, I tried to find the girl's YouTube channel to see this evidence firsthand. These videos have been scrubbed from the internet. Okay, so they ain't available for us to watch except for on her page of what was posted here. Okay, so let's see what else she said here.
And you know, I struggled to afford really anything, and I had to work so hard all the time, and now I don't have to work, and I'm treated like a princess, and I'm so in love, and I'm living in an incredibly beautiful home that I just, like, let me see if I can, I'm not going to show you much, but, like, I'll show you, like, just a tiny bit, like, there's a little bit of, like, just a tiny little.
I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of twisted. This is kind of twisted. I like, okay, I'm gonna say something some of you guys might not like. I understand how real life works, so I also know, even though she's just telling us her story, I know she's not telling us everything. Okay, so there's plenty more to the situation than she's led us on to believe, for sure. But I also think it's super twisted that, imagine watching a YouTube video of someone else talking about how her life has been saved by God, being with this man and being in this house, and she's panning around and showing a video of your house. I tell you, boy. My question also is, what are the logistics of this? Because she didn't explain this well. She didn't explain what are the logistics of how it was even feasible. I'm not even talking about like how she knew or anything. Like, I'm just talking about like, did she look back and say, okay, these were the periods where he would even have time to be able to do this? Because it's a complex process. First of all, talking to her, right? Messaging her, meeting up with her, getting to know her, building this relationship with her. And then how did he move her in under her nose? So my other question becomes, how much time were they spending together or not spending together? How much free time did he have on his hands? What is his job, his work? What was he doing in his free time? Like that he would be able to literally build a whole life with this girl, move her in. Is this like one of his houses? How is she able to be in this house comfortably? It doesn't even seem like he's there. So where is his? Okay, I'm confused. Let's just go on. Maybe we'll get more answers.
I posted a video on Instagram one time, but I didn't post. It was on a story, so like it's not there anymore if you want to see it. But we're together. I'm reminded that God is real, and that God protects me and has my back, because I'm life of my dreams. I mean, I'm living in my home. It's a 6,000 square foot mansion that is beautiful that I got to pick out.
This is twisted. This is twisted. So, man, I wish we could have her on the show. This is twisted. How? So, okay. I'm trying to. She's left out some things, both of them. So I'm trying to put together what could be the most probable thing here. So what we have so far, she has somehow built a relationship with this guy, and this is not even the house that they were like the wife and her husband were already living in. This is a house that this woman picked out. So I'm assuming obviously they're operating with a lot of money, but I'm just trying to understand. I don't like, how is this even, how, okay. So they went to view houses, or she just said, yeah, buy this one. Okay. So even on the accounts, how did she not realize he was purchasing a whole house? He needed to put a down payment down for a 6,000 square foot house. We're talking, even if she lives in Texas where houses are cheap, you're talking about at least like $1.5 million. So what, you're putting down a down payment of 100,000, 200. How is this even possible? Okay, let's see, because my mind is just going a million places. I'm trying to understand how this is even possible to pull off. Because she walked in and she didn't know nothing about what was going on. I mean, the other girl knew what was going on, but she's never met this woman. How is that possible? She said her name is on the lease, but in this video, she said she picked, okay, a beautiful, let's see, did she say buy or lease?
Mansion that is beautiful that I got to pick out. You know.
So maybe they leased it, but even then, okay, 6,000 square foot mansion. What do you think that rents for? At least 10K. At least 10K. Even if we're talking in Texas where rent's cheap, at least that renting for 10K. So how, and you put down rent on a lease, you're going to do first and last. So at least $20,000 left his account somehow without his wife knowing, unless they have no joint accounts. And he was able to pull that off without her knowing.
They moved us into a home, and he took me to Hawaii for my birthday, and I've never been anywhere before. My birthday was this month, and the way he looks at me, and the way he cares for me.
Wait.
And the way he values month, and the way he looks at me. And he took me to Hawaii for my birthday, and I've never been anywhere. And he took me to Hawaii for my birthday, and I've never been anywhere before. My birthday was this month.
What? How is any of this possible? Chat, for some of you that know this story, maybe you've seen it, or how is this even possible? I don't even understand how this is possible. The guy's married to this woman. I don't understand how any of this is possible. How did he go on a trip to Hawaii with her? And how is this even possible? How do you even pull this off? How do you excuse, I guess you could say it's a work trip, but what type of work trip happens in Hawaii that you can't bring your wife for or your partner for? What? Okay.
The way he looks at me, and the way he cares for me, and the way he values me and loves me, and gratitude, and just blessings and abundance in my life, like that it's you know, nothing good and truly worth having comes easy. Okay? And
what is she talking about? She just said that God has blessed her with being able to find her person. She moved into a 6,000 square foot mansion. What about that's hard? I'm not judging. I'm not shaming. I'm just what about that is hard? What is the work in that? Whatever.
I'm just so happy. Also, there's a bunch of alcohol bottles right there. Neither of us drink. Those have all been gifts from like holidays and stuff. So I just want to.
Gifts from who? How is the okay? This is gonna make me mad. How is this even possible? Who is gifting them things? How is this possible? Okay, I feel like someone's leaving a lot of stuff out. Because how is that possible that people can gift them things if this is supposed to be his mistress or side chick? I don't understand how that's it's one thing to say, okay, he had a side chick, no one knew about it. It's like, where are these gifts coming from? What family, friends, what other couples are gifting them alcohol as like a welcoming? How is this possible?
Say that because alcohol's so gross. Like I'll drink like dogged and poisoned.
Okay, so that was that. This is gonna make me mad, chat. This is gonna upset me. Let's see. She's got to explain a lot of this stuff because I have too many questions. You gotta get to explaining, please. I need to understand how any of this is possible.
Okay, if you're here as a follow-up, this is part 7 to my big discovery that my husband was living a double life and had a fiance in another state. I think a lot of people had questions about why in the video I said my husband's house, and so hopefully I can provide a little bit of context to that, as well as update. The betrayals just keep coming. The disclosures just keep coming. So a little bit of context. When we got married, I was finishing medical school, and so when he decided to pursue this job opportunity out of state, I couldn't come with him. And I knew, if anybody has familiarity
out of school,
the betrayals just keep coming. The disclosures just keep coming. So a little bit of context. When we got married, I was finishing medical school, and so when he decided to pursue this job opportunity out of state, I couldn't come with him. And I knew, if anybody has familiarity with, like, even once you graduate medical school, you don't get to choose your residency. Like, there was a good possibility I wouldn't necessarily even get to move then. So we always knew that we would potentially have to live separately for a time. However, he was very encouraging, like, I'll come home every other week, or, so for a while, that was okay. However, last year, so this might come as a shock to exactly nobody, but there have been other issues, and the last year was particularly difficult in our marriage. My husband has some other very destructive behaviors, and we both were in counseling and I was in therapy trying to mitigate some of the damage that those had and the toll that they've been taking on me. And he was in a very intensive program which he did not complete. He was non-compliant, and so last year, around July, when he got kicked out of that program, the facilitator encouraged me to keep more rigid boundaries in our marriage and to keep my own space, to not return back to Georgia because I had been there. And
Program. Is she talking about an Alcohol Anonymous program? Hold on, let me go back here.
The facilitator encouraged me to keep, and so last year, around July, when he got kicked out of that program, the facilitator encouraged me to keep more rigid boundaries in our marriage and to keep my own space, to not return back to Georgia because I had been there. And I guess around December, he really started pursuing my heart again and making, wanting to make sure we always had date nights and just showing up more, and even bought me a new car, and just has been like huge overt gestures to show that he's all in the marriage and that he's repentant and sorry. And I know a lot of eye rolls, but I'm just telling you what my experience was over these past 6 months from him. So he even was really pressing for us to...
She says 6 months. She didn't explain the timeline of when they got married to where they are now. but I'm also starting to question that because she's saying when they got married that she was in medical school. So she basically is saying the fact that she got married when they were in medical school basically made it so that they were in a long distance marriage. But she doesn't describe exactly how long the long distance marriage went on for. But it sounds like it's not that long because the process, like she didn't mention that many things. She talked about getting married. Then she talked about going to a program, failing that program, and then basically him trying to win her back. That doesn't sound like it takes more than 5 years. So my question is, how long have they even been married for?
Okay, take some time away, just the two of us, for a covenant vow renewal this summer. And so when you understand that context in my reaction, it's just an extra layer of betrayal, because I said to him in January, if you are not really healed, if you do not think that you can do better, like, do not mess with my heart, like, do not emotionally draw me back in. Let's just keep our space. So he had drawn me back in and was like all in. So yeah, it's wild. Like, when you juxtapose that to like what I just walked in on and discovered, it's just evil. All right, so the other betrayals, this is a big one. He has older kids from a first marriage, and most of them are like in their 20s.
I got to start bringing these people on that we watch of their story times. We got to start bringing them on the show. I'm gonna try to get that in the works, bring some of these people on the show. My spidey senses were tingling because when you first watch it, you'd be thinking, oh, they've been married forever. You know what I mean? Like, since they were young, and this is her just finding out now. Now we get to realize he's been married, so they must have been married recently. I'm not saying that to blame her. I'm just saying that does add an extra layer of context on the situation. So I had a feeling, I was like, everything she's describing sounds very recent. It doesn't sound like it happened over the course of 10 or 15 years, which is what you would think if they were adults being married since they were like younger or in their 30s, right? So interesting.
It's just evil. All right. So the other betrayals. This is a big one. He has older kids from a first marriage, and most of them 30s. One of them in particular, his daughter, she is, 23. And I've had issues with her before just because I've caught her in lies. She really likes drama. She likes pitting her parents against each other. Like, she likes to stir up, like, tell on one and then go and tell on the other. And like, these are all adults and they've been divorced for decades. Like, she just kind of has a penchant for that. And I told him I do not want her living at home anymore. Like, she's not good for her marriage. She's just not. She's an adult now. She can. Okay. So, and she didn't like that. She also didn't like it when I called her out for lying. And I found out she is living in this house with his mistress. He gets away with this because so many people enable it. So many people turn a blind eye, will even move in with him and his paramour while they know he's married, not tell his wife, because they're getting free rent or their car paid or their cell phone bill paid or there's some incentive. And so, in this case, he also got her a job at his very large healthcare organization. So she wasn't gonna sell him out. And it's just mind-blowing to me.
Okay, so chat, I'm never victim blaming when I ask questions. I'm just, when I hear stories, I never just like to be like, oh, you're telling everything the truth, you're not leaving anything out, and everything is someone else's fault. That's not how life is. So I have to ask questions. One of my questions, if she was here with us here now, would be, okay, so were you expecting some sort of loyalty from a girl who is not your biological daughter and has never shown you like any sort of affinity or like love or desire to be like, hey, I'm here for you, to take care of you, and I want to be like your daughter? I'm not saying that to like, oh, I'm blaming her for being dumb or anything like that, but like, ask yourself, like, why would she be going out of her way to protect you? Like, she doesn't owe you anything. I just have to be real. That's not your biological daughter. And let's be honest. If you're going to be pushing for someone to move out, hey, yay, don't take care of her, get her, I don't like her vibe, whatever. You think that's the person that's going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, the same person who was wanting me to move out and be on my own and take care of myself, that's the same person I'm going to be trying to look out for and letting her know the ins and outs of the situation? You got to be smarter than that. And then my other question would be, if his daughter was that much of a problem, and maybe some of the other kids as well, she's just talking about the one daughter, my question would then be like, okay, so why did you proceed with the marriage with a man who you don't get along with his children? That's not, you when we have real conversations, we have to have real conversations. So if you're going and thinking about being with a man who has children, nothing wrong with that, but you have to factor in his children. Unfortunately, you're dating his children, you're dating him and his children, you're marrying him and his children. So if you and his children don't get along, that's just not going to work, because the man is always going to be obligated to his biological children. He's going to have to take care of them. He's going to have to appease them. He's going to have to be a dad to them. You might be like, F them, let them fend for themselves, but he can't do that. So you're putting yourself between a rock and a hard place when you're getting yourself into a situation where his children are almost damn near against you. That's gonna be very tough it's gonna be an uphill battle a lot for most of the relationship. Let's see what else she says.
In addition to, she also has some weird occultic kind of religious zeal, and so I can see like some similarities between his paramour and his daughter and why they might have gotten along, because they're the same age. But nonetheless, there's just no excuse in my mind. So that's an added betrayal. Like, he's just humiliating, like his family endorses this behavior.
Okay. See, I don't like saying this type of stuff, because when I say it, it makes it sound like I'm not believing someone who's obviously like a victim. But cheating on your wife is wrong. Okay? I think we can all agree there. I think when I try and follow the logic train, I really hate when certain things just don't make sense to me. I think we can all agree, if we were to survey most of the world and ask them, hey, if you had a son or a daughter and you found out your son or your daughter was cheating on his wife, or she was cheating on her husband, would you co-sign that as a parent? I'm not saying you disown your child, but like, would you co-sign that as like, hey, I support that decision, I embrace you, I'll help you, with the process of cheating? I think most people would say no. I think. So with that being said, if we're following that logic train, I'm trying to understand, why would his parents not only co-sign the fact that he's cheating on his wife, but embrace the new woman? Chat, does that not sound very strange to you? Chat, does that not sound very, very strange to you? I'm not saying it's not possible, but that logic train doesn't make sense to me. I'm just being honest with you. That logic train doesn't make sense to me, that parents would embrace their son cheating on his wife and embrace the new woman, knowing he has not yet divorced his wife. What do you guys think, Chad? That's very strange. That's very strange to me.
Like, he's just humiliating, like his family endorses this behavior. His oldest daughter tried to punch my mother.
Saying endorses is very different too from saying that they just allowed it and they didn't say anything. Not saying anything is not getting in the middle of it. But saying, first specifically saying the word they endorse this behavior is not just a cosign. That's they're enabling him in terms of helping him facilitate the cheating and the going behind her back and making sure she doesn't know. That's totally different from cosigning or just not saying anything.
At our wedding. So I probably should have known then that there were some issues.
Sorry, say that again?
His oldest daughter tried to punch my mother at our wedding. So I probably should have known then that there were some issues. This behavior. His oldest daughter tried to punch my mother at our wedding. So I probably should have known then that there were some issues. However, I didn't think I would have to be parenting or step-parenting these adults. And I also didn't know that they were going to be like creating a family cult around slandering me when I wasn't around, so.
Okay. I want to ask the right question here. Let's assume that the daughter and mother punching at the wedding was not the first time there's been some sort of spat or disagreement or like situation between families, right? I think we can kind of surmise there was a clear understanding from the beginning that her family did not like her. And I think she knew that. So, I mean, I get it. She's assuming they're adults and she's not going to have to deal with them. But then my other question becomes, okay, I'm a little bit different, chat, and maybe you guys can help me with this to try and understand. I don't understand why you would want to be in a place where you're not wanted or not appreciated from the jump. And I'm not just talking about by him, but like by like everyone around. How do you it's just me maybe, but I don't feel comfortable in a place where I know people like dislike me or telling rumors about me or like are against me. That's very weird and odd energy to be around, especially when like you know those people are around the person that you love. So all of those people are going to be talking about you to your husband. His daughter is gonna be talking to him about you. His mother, like other. I don't know.
Betrayals just keep coming, right? Okay, and then the third really contextually grievous thing to this whole situation is I waited really, really long time to get married. I got married a lot later in life because I had 2 kids really young and with a very, very toxic person, and it was just really devastating to my life, and I had to learn a lot of things in really difficult circumstances. And so I didn't date. I focused on my kids and my education and my career, and I got accepted to medical school, and I single parented for 12 years. And so the stakes were really high for me entering into a marriage. And my husband and so I found out like he lied while we were engaged. I broke it off. And when I took him back, when I would ever allow that to be reconciled, I made it super, super clear to him. Like, I'm not an extremely religious person, but my faith is really important to me. And while I think there are spiritual grounds for divorce, I personally have the conviction that I don't have the authority to remarry. Like, I don't believe that's an option. And there's no condemnation for lots of people get remarried, but I just knew for me, that wasn't. And so this was my only marriage. And to make sure he really understood that, I actually had him sign a prenup with an infidelity clause because of his past behavior that he had disclosed. It was risky. It was foolish of me, I know, but I've also had to come to terms, like, I had some idols around like redemption stories and people being able to turn their life around, and like that really made me very vulnerable to what he was selling in order to get me back. And he was very, very adamant for a quick wedding, a quick marriage, because I would not agree to having a physical relationship with him. So for him to have cheated, and this is, by the way, the other disclosures, like, he's cheated on me multiple times. This is just one of them in our marriage. So it's just diabolical. Like, it's just a cruelty that is really hard for me to fully process. And then lastly, I guess I would just say, so this this girl, I do not believe in shaming the other woman in most situations. You have no idea what she's been told. However, of course, we're adults. We should do due diligence. But the homewrecker is always the guy who wrecked his own home, right? And so initially I actually was just like, let me not get mad. Like, let me not lose it on this girl, right? Let me make sure I stay focused on the person who did this. By the way, they met on seeking arrangement. Like, this was not, and I just fell in love.
Sorry, chat. I'm muted. We might have to go to the next. I don't think I can do this anymore. This type of stuff just raises my blood pressure. Okay. So some of you guys don't know. I'm gonna fill you in on what she just said here. Seeking arrangements. I know some of you were like, what is that? Seeking arrangements is quite literally, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not overemphasizing, none of that. Seeking arrangements is a website, kind of similar to Tinder, kind of similar to Bumble and Hinge, where you go and you meet people who are open to relationships. Here's the key difference between seeking arrangements and Tinder or Bumble or Hinge. You go on there, right? Not because you're specifically looking for a relationship, but you're looking for an arrangement. So, you know how we talk about, this new era where women are like, hey, I want to get the bag. I want a guy who's got money, who's rich, who could take care of me. And these men most of the time are like, look, I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I want, just all the benefits, but I don't really want to actually be with you for real. But I do have money. They basically find each other on an app, on a website, like seeking arrangements, because the purpose of it is, I'll just be real with you, for sugar babies, young women, good-looking, attractive women who want rich men who will take care of them or spoil them, to find rich men, usually old, okay, usually lonely, to basically be in not a relationship, but in a arrangement where the man takes care of the money part. He pays her, literally pays her. And the woman will either spend her time, maybe she'll sleep with him. It's not always a given, but sometimes she sleeps with him. Sometimes it's just her time. And sometimes it's just, just straight up just companionship, right? Kind of being a version of like a companion, kind of like a partner, but not really. And in return, she gets paid for her time. That's actually the purpose of this website. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not like being hyperbolic. That's the purpose of this site, okay? So that's where she's saying that her husband met this woman. And the only reason I'm pausing is because I just think it's kind of comical, because the woman was talking about meeting her person that God ordained for her, and she finds him on seeking arrangements, and that's how she thinks she's finding her person that God ordained for her. But also, okay, again, not blaming, but she did mention some things that I'm just like, why? She talked about how basically she knew going into the relationship that he had a history of infidelity in his past relationships. I'm not saying that people can't change or people can't grow or evolve, but did he even have a desire to grow or evolve? Sometimes I think it's easy to make the mistake of thinking that because someone admits to their mistakes that they actually want to grow or evolve from them. Sometimes people make those mistakes, they can own up to them and say, yeah, I made that mistake, but then they have no intention of actually changing anything in their life. The fact that he had infidelity issues and then he was rushing to get married, and then she also knew that he was rushing to get married because he wanted to get physical, how does that... Whatever.
In love with the girl at the office kind of thing. So, however, she's been lying. Like, just one thing, for example, she said they don't drink in that video. My husband drinks. He gets a cocktail every time we go out on a date. In addition to that, in her own Instagram post of her with my husband on Valentine's, they both have cocktails at the table. So
Again, my brain is exploding because I'm wondering, how is that possible? How did you not see your husband on Valentine's Day? How? It's because this is the thing too. If he has so much money that they have multiple houses, he's here, he's in Bali, he's in Hawaii, he's here all over the place, you would think then that would mean he has enough money that if Valentine's Day comes or any sort of special holiday or weekend, he could easily just fly to her or fly her out, that they could see each other. If the money's rolling in that crazy, okay, I don't see how it's even possible for them to not be together on special occasions, because why not? They have the money to do it. So that's why I'm even wondering how did he even get past to this point? It's just kind of this is crazy.
And thankfully, God has placed me here to be the end of this woman terrorizing this family for 4.5 years now.
Did she posted that on her TikTok? Okay.
I have an update coming. More details. Corrections, questions answered. But it's going to take me a minute to get it all out because...
Okay, I think it's in the next video because this is a short video. She's going to address it in the next one.
Hi, who are you? I'm so sorry. My husband lives here. Your husband? Yeah, my husband.
So that was the full video.
Replay the moments leading up to the discovery. So when I get to the house, there are 2 cars in the driveway, one of which has stuffed animals in the windows, and so I'm thinking maybe his daughter is here. My husband always leaves the front door unlocked, and so I walk in and I call his name and there's no answer. And the first pit in my stomach was that there were cats, and I'm thinking maybe his younger kids are leaving maybe he's house sitting. I'm trying to rationalize why there would be cats in the house. And then there's a moment where I'm like, if you've ever gone to get in your car in a parking lot and realize you grabbed somebody else's door handle, like a car that looked just like yours, and you're like, oh crap, I'm in the wrong place, that kind of thing. But then his computer is there there's a desk and a computer, and I'm like, okay. So when I start walking up the stairs, everything in my intuition is saying something is not right, something is not right. And so I turn on my phone camera as I open the door. And that feeling of being in the wrong place is just magnified, because this room is not decorated like anything previously where my husband's apartment was, or our house together. And I'm just there's this just bewilderment that I'm stumbling through in those milliseconds. She doesn't even flinch. She just stays laying in the bed in the most calm demeanor. And that's like, I'm thinking, like, is he in the bathroom? Like, what is going on, right? If you've seen the first video, you see how that conversation progresses. I know a lot of people were like, oh, she ran on this. It was when she said, I'm on the lease. It was just like the bottom dropped out. That was enough. I walked out. I actually got a call from the detective and returned their call. So I wasn't running. I was still trying to make sense of what the hell was going on. He was supposed to arrive the day before. And so I knew with like international flights, you know, maybe he was like asleep, or, you know, he was, yeah, like, I mean, it's just, so when he wasn't there, I was trying to figure that out as well.
So for those of you, it's kind of low. I can't even turn it up any higher. She just has it so low. She's like whispering, but she's basically saying that her husband was supposed to be there the day before. I guess the logistics got mixed up. And she just had a funny feeling about when she entered the house. Still, my question becomes, how is your husband on the lease? And like, how do you not know who's, but this your husband. How are you not aware of like what his situation is with this lease? What house number is this? Because it seems like he has multiple houses, but I don't know. This is very strange. Does she answer more questions?
This is part 9. It's not most people's normal way to do it, because after this video, I am going to press pause on updating in real time. And when the bottom fell out of my world, if you've ever been in a situation where you have been carrying somebody else's burdens, or you, so that was my way of holding myself.
Met chat. I might have to get her like on the show to try and get some of these answers, because I don't even understand what's going on anymore. Because she didn't tell the story properly, but we might have to see about getting it properly out of her, because some of this stuff there was a lot left. Anyways, let's hop into our next segment of the day. Our next segment is a very special segment. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're gonna laugh and you're gonna cry. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. You guys have to spam it up in the chat. Okay? If you're ready for this. Y'all ready for this? If you know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, you're in for a treat. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. Should I go loud or quiet, chat? Which one should I do? Loud or quiet, chat? You ready? Okay, chat. Okay, chat. I think every day part of therapy, you need to yell like every day, like once a day. Once a yell a day keeps the doctor away. Okay, let's put on our handy dandy glasses here. And for those of you who are very confused here, I'm going to explain how this works. So Discord times were all look at this. Look at this foolishness on my screen. Let me fix this for you guys while I tell you about Discord Times. So Discord Times, where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show, okay? So let me pull up. Let me make my head nice and big on the screen here. Make my big noggin big on the screen here. So the way that this works is if you're watching on TikTok, you can submit your question to me via the link in my bio on TikTok. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can submit your question to me via in our description where it says Players Club Discord. And when you submit your question to me, let me make myself nice and big here. When you submit your question to me there, it'll drop into, you can drop it into our forum here where it says relationship advice, and then I can answer it in a first come, first serve queue order here. Now, I'll be honest with you, okay, because I have to be honest with you. When you drop your question in, it's going to take me a couple of weeks to get to yours if you drop it in our free section, because obviously there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions for me, and I'm only one human being. So it's going to take me a while in this free section queue. Now, if you're an impatient person, oh boy. Wait, no. These are okay. I was gonna say, if you're an impatient person, we have a few to do today. If you're an impatient person and you don't want to wait that long to get your question answered, that's fine as well. We have what we describe as the Premium Relationship Advice Forum, which is like a skip the line pass at a theme park, because I read these questions out before I go into the free section. And the way you get to access this is by going to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching on YouTube. Click where it says Premium Relationship Advice, Discord Relationship Advice. And then when you click that, you'll be prompted to donate to the show. And then you'll also submit your Discord username and the title of your question. That way, when you drop it in here, I know that that's you. I know that that's your question, and we keep it fair for everyone. Now, the third way to submit your question is through the free section, is through the private relationship advice link. This is for those of you who don't want your information read on the show, but you still want my input and my advice. So this link is in the Discord. It's also in my bio on TikTok. It's also in my description on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice. You can send me in a question, and then I'll answer it accordingly in line of how they come. There's a lot, so just keep in mind it's going to take me like maximum of 7 days. The ones I've been late on only because of the website glitch, but like I said, I'm catching up on everything by today and tomorrow. So any of you waiting will definitely get your answer for sure. Okay, so let's hop into this first premium question of the day. Oops. No, I did Gina's, right? I answered Gina. No, I didn't. Okay, so Gina's question: guy only contacts me to set up dates and no contact when I'm sick. Interesting. So you said, I am a 34-year-old female, currently dating a 34-year-old man I met on a dating app. That's not a good start. Okay. We've been seeing each other for a little over a month now, and we've gone on 3 dates so far, once a week on the weekends. Okay. All of my past relationships have always been decided within 3 dates. Okay. Whether we would be together or not. I've never had anything like a situationship. After 3 dates, the guy would always clearly want to be my boyfriend, and those relationships ended up being long-term. For context, I've never been in long-term relationships. Wait, what? But I thought you just... Okay. I've only been in long-term relationships. I never do casual. Okay. My main concern is that he never contacts me outside of scheduling or confirming dates. Huh? What's the problem there? So if we met each other on Sunday, then he usually texts me around Tuesday to ask me out again and confirms the plan by exchanging maybe 5 or 6 messages, and that's it. For context, he's the one who initiated, planned, paid for all the dates. And I don't hear from him on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday until the Sunday date. How old is he, you said? It's 34. Where's the problem here? At first, that didn't seem like a big deal. Tomisin said it's not necessarily a red flag, and I know some people just aren't into texting. So I told myself I didn't mind either, even though it feels like he just doesn't think about me. He doesn't even have Instagram, if that helps you determine. I can't say that that's any sort of identifier of whether he's a good or a bad person, because people choose not to have Instagram for many different reasons. Okay. He could be hiding something, but he could also just not want to be on Instagram, which is not a bad thing. So now, being in a situation where I have been on 3 dates, but the guy still feels somewhat lukewarm, like this feels unfamiliar and confusing to me. I can't help but wonder if a relationship like this has any real potential. And I'm starting to feel uneasy now because he asked me out again. This is the first time I think we've had a question that's like, he's asked me out again and I don't like this. But I had to cancel on our weekend date this time due to being really sick. He responded kindly, saying he hoped I'd feel better and there was no need to apologize, but it's been 3 days since then and I haven't heard a word from him. If he truly cared, wouldn't he at least check within a day or two to see how I'm doing? Example, how do you feel? Isn't it that normal human decency? Yes. Over the past month, I felt like we were becoming closer. All previous dates were 3 to 6 hours long. And they don't need to be that long. And were nice and fun. He took me to fun places in public and nice restaurants. But as I've been lying in bed sick and feeling miserable, I couldn't help but wonder, am I someone he's just dating for fun or using to boost his ego until he finds the person that he truly cares about? What worries me is that I'm not sure if he genuinely cares about me as a person or just enjoys the fun of dating an attractive woman. After all, isn't it true that some men continue to date women even if they're not really interested? Well, they continue to sleep with women they might not be interested in. I don't know many men that actively date women they're not interested in. That doesn't make a lot of sense man-wise. I heard they put women into a fun bucket just because it's entertaining or validating for them. Yeah, if they're sleeping with you, but if he's not sleeping with you, what is he? What unless just the entertainment and companionship? That's not enough to say he's using you. Okay, especially these days when it's harder for men to get matches on dating apps. I wouldn't say that necessarily. The reason depends on the guy. If you're saying he's attractive, good-looking guy, he has enough money to take you out on dates, it's not like he's repulsive to women. So the reason I'm having these thoughts is because whenever he texts me with questions about myself, it doesn't feel like he's genuinely curious about me because they always used to open the conversations as a lead into making plans, as if he's only interested in filling his agenda. It feels like meeting up with me matters more to him than actually getting to know who I am as a person, but maybe I am too anxious. For what it's worth, nothing pineapple-y has happened between us so far, even after the 3rd date. So like I said, he's not getting anything in particular from just dating you. It's not like you can say, oh, he's sleeping with me, so that's why he's pretending to be interested in me. Because that's not happening. Other than him holding my shoulder while walking. Please help me understand what might be going on. Can a contact-less relationship like this ever work? Update, he just checked in with me and asked me if I want him to bring anything. I would appreciate if you leave a voice reply like how you did on those previous posts for a girly girl. The reason I left a voice reply on the other ones is because those days I was supposed to have a show. But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to try and start linking the show for those of you guys who want to rewatch it and find your question answered, because that's why I did that for the other ones. So Gina, here's the thing. It's not a crime for a guy to want to just date you and not be doing a whole bunch of unnecessary chit chat. Here's the thing. There's 2 parts to this. There's the first part, which is you have to be honest with yourself about what works for you and what doesn't. Okay. Then after that, you also have to acknowledge what is it that you actually need to be successful in a relationship. So if you can't be with the man who doesn't text you more than often, at least more often than this guy, then okay, be honest with yourself about it. And then just realize that this is not something that can work for you, because I don't think he's going to change. But here's the other flip side of that. I'm not saying it has to be one or the other, but I can assure you, if you watch the show for long enough, you will know, on average, more women struggle with trying to get a man to even get them to go out on a date and be intentional enough to actually see them in person or see them in a capacity that's not just come to my house and sleep with me for nothing. More women struggle to get guys to do that than they do to text them 24/7. Even there's girls who have guys texting them 24/7 that never ask them out on a date. And they ask me questions like, how do I get this guy to ask me out on a date? Because him texting me all the time was cool at first, but then after the first 3 weeks, I realized this is kind of a pointless activity if we're never going to actually see each other, or he's never going to put in any effort past chatting with me, texting me, and occasional phone calls. So here's the thing. You also have to ask yourself, what is the most important thing to me? Whenever you meet someone, no matter whether it's him, another guy, a different guy, even if you meet a multimillionaire, you're always going to find flaws in their personality, the way they go about things, and you're never going to find a guy who does everything exactly perfectly how you want him to do it. The real solution to that issue is realizing within yourself what are the most important qualities that you need for yourself to be in a successful, happy, healthy relationship. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that you should prioritize the fact that he asks you out on dates and completely forget about the fact that he doesn't text you. But I want you to ask yourself a question. What would I rather have? A guy who messages me on a consistent basis all the time, and I have to struggle to get him to take me out on a date? Or a guy who knows how to take me out on dates consistently without me having to ask or beg for that. And the trade-off, the part that I don't get, that's not perfect, is that he doesn't text me as much as other guys would. Because what we can't lie about is the fact that it takes more effort to plan a date, to take you out, to spend that time with you in person than it does to send you a message, hey, how you feeling? Did you throw up last night? Right? Because I get it. It feels good if a guy checks it up on you every day or is messaging you every day. But does it mean because he doesn't message you every day that he doesn't care about you? Not necessarily, because it takes more effort to go out with you and plan a date with you than it does to send you a text message. Do you get what I'm saying? If you had it the alternate way, it actually takes less effort to send you a casual message, right, than it does to plan a date with you, which is why most women struggle with the latter rather than the former. Or am I even saying that right? Most women struggle with getting a man to take them out on a date as opposed to getting a man to just text them every now and again. So this is where the context of the Discord and the questions that we get will also help you contextualize what you're going through in comparison to what other women are going through and struggling with. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a problem with what's going on in your life because it's not a real problem, but I'm also saying compare what you're struggling with what other women are struggling with and ask yourself, are you really struggling in this relationship? Are you really not able to build a good relationship with a man with these qualities? Right? Now, if you get to the point where you say to yourself, hey, I can't deal with the man who's not going to message me every day, it has to happen, or I can't be in a relationship with that man, then my advice to you is just leave this man and stop talking to him and go find someone else to date. Because do I think that a 34-year-old guy is going to randomly change the way that he communicates overnight? No, not a chance. So you'd be living in a pipe dream, and I'd be letting you live in a pipe dream if I tried to advise you based on the idea that you could do some things or say some things to get him to change his communication style. He won't. Even if you begged him, even if you talked about it a million times, he might change it for a week or so and he'll revert back to what he regularly is used to doing. Now, I'm not saying that over the course of time, maybe he might communicate with you more. And maybe when you guys have conversations with it, maybe he'll work on it a little bit. But to expect some sort of 180-degree change, no, that's not going to happen. So you need to have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, what are the most important things to me? Can I be in this relationship even if he's not going to text me all the time? Or is this going to make me so anxious that I can't possibly be in this thing at all? Now, we also have to factor in something that I want you to be thinking about as well. You guys have been seeing each other for a month. So I'm going to say something that's going to kind of hurt your feelings, but I just want you to take it in. When you start dating someone, you're not as important as you think you are. Okay? I'm not saying even that that's for all of us, okay? Me included. When you just start dating someone, you have to understand, like, before you started dating them, they've been having a life and been doing things, been going places, been meeting people since before they met you. So the idea that you can just meet someone and in 1 month, all of a sudden you're the only thing they think about, the only thing they prioritize, the only thing that's on their mind all the time. That's just not how life works. Okay. You're going to ease your way into being a priority in his life. But I don't think it's a crime that he doesn't bother to message you all the time, 24/7, when you guys are in no position of being in like a long-term serious relationship. You're still in the very beginning stages of getting to know each other and getting to understand each other. And you have no idea what's going on in his life, what his other priorities are at this time. And even though he might have other priorities, it's not like he's not being consistent with you. He's just not being consistent with you in the way that you want him to, which is to be messaging you or texting you every day, or at least more often. So once again, you have to ask yourself that question, right? Is this something that you can deal with for an extended period of time for the span of a relationship? If it's not, if it can't work for you, then don't bother talking to him, because you're not going to change this. It might get a little bit better, but it's not going to change drastically. You also have to remind yourself these are the early stages of a relationship, and you're still feeling out each other. So it's not even like at this point him not messaging you for a couple of days is even weird. To be honest, the people that I've met a month ago, there's rarely anyone that I meet and then it's like for the next, in the first month I meet them, I'm messaging them every day. Like a lot of people need to work their way up to messaging every single day. That's insane. For someone like me, a personality like me, that's insane. I would never message someone I just met every single day. But I get it. Maybe that's a little bit different for you, but that might be his personality. His personality might be a little bit more like mine, where you don't just meet someone and you're messaging them every day. Doesn't mean you don't see them, but you're not messaging them every day. Okay. I don't think there's anyone in my life that I message every day. Okay. Except for like someone who's my partner in the time that they're my partner. Okay. So you guys got to understand that as well. All right. All right. Let's hop into our next question here. This one was from, I think I did Girly's Girl. Okay, so this was another question that she asked. Feeling guilty. Girly Girl says, okay, Tomisin, I'm back with another question. I'm 26 and the guy is 30. So last week I broke up with my boyfriend because he cheated on me the whole relationship. Yes, I did answer your question. Those of you refer to the forum if you're wanting to know what happened in our last situation. Now that I left, he is starting to do changes. He is going to anonymous alcoholic meetings and he's going back to church. He is putting the work, putting in the work, you meant to say, so far. He also finally opened up to me about past traumas and things that were heavy on his heart for so long. But the thing is, I tried so many times to have him opening up to me during our relationship and he never went deep. He always has been very nonchalant, barely showing me a sexual desire and not being very focused around me because obviously his head was somewhere else. And now he's opening up to me. He's making me feel guilty because I don't want to take him back. And now he's opening up to me for no reason. Well, it's not for no reason. He's opening up to you to get you back. And now, since he's finally opening up to me, I should be taking him back. But I just feel guilty and I don't want him anymore because I have realized that my life with him wouldn't be as smooth as I wish it would be, okay? Like, for example, he doesn't please me in bed. At least you're honest. He doesn't know my body. There was no intensity, no passion, no freakiness. And I'm somebody who is very freaky. Okay, you freaked out. You freaked out. And love my sexual life. My ex-partner was incredible in bed, and he showed me what it feels like to feel desired and loved and be freaky. There was passion, intensity, what I don't have with my boyfriend. That's quite a sentence. My boyfriend said, I'm so used to people not sticking around. I'm so used to telling people and being genuinely upfront and then just leaving with all my secrets and telling everyone. Them, I think you meant to say, okay. Them just leaving with all my secrets and telling everyone. And now I'm conflicted. Why? It's a guilt trip. Also, everybody knows that I'm not with him anymore because he cheated on me. So if I take him back, I would have all the pressure that everyone knows that I came back to a cheater and look like Boo Boo the Fool. English is probably not your first language. Shame on me. I don't know if I could take him back. I'm also thinking about my ex-partner because I miss my sexual life. Okay, so your relationship's done. If you ever get to the point where you're saying, I'm thinking what this really means, I'm going to translate this for you all. What this really means is I've been fantasizing about my old man. He used to D me down like crazy. He used to penetrate me like crazy. I used to feel that thing in my stomach. I used to be, the way I used to orgasm, I was shaking, okay? The moment you start fantasizing about another man other than the man you're with, relationship done. You're done. You're cooked. You're cooked from the standpoint that your sex life is so mental for you as a woman. Once you're gone mentally, like your mind is on another, it's cooked, because you will not be able to function properly in the relationship, right? Or see your man as the man, or even submit to him, or even allow him to be, you won't be feeling it within you. Long story short, your mind won't be there. So once you're fantasizing about another man, cooked. It's done. I'm not saying it's a crime, what's happened to you, but you can't go back to him. It won't be possible, because you'll go back to him and then you'll be fantasizing about being with other people. You'll even be fantasizing, if something happens and you meet a man who's got that masculine, that freaked out energy that you're into, you're going to be weak in the knees and you're not going to know what to say or what to do, because the way he'll be talking to you, the way he'll be interacting with you, could be a work guy, right? You'll be like, damn, I don't know what to do now, because this is really turning me on. And my boyfriend really doesn't turn me on. That's a very dangerous place to be in mentally as a woman. My sexual life right now is terrible, and I need to have an intense, good, strong sexual connection. My boyfriend said he will please me more, except no, not a chance. You can't, you're already too far gone. But I keep thinking that he won't D me down exactly how I want it, like my ex did. I'm a Scorpio woman in bed. We ain't playing. We are doing it. I am realizing how important my sexuality is as a woman to me, so it is important. If my partner can't D me down well, it makes me upset and angry and on edge. You know what? I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at that realization, girly girl. That's a good realization to have, because I'll be honest with you. You probably go to work and you meet women who are like this. Like, you'll go to work and you'll meet women who, like, it's like they always have like this, like, everything bothers them. Someone will have the wrong size coffee lid and it's like they're always yelling, they're always screaming, they're always on edge. Those women are not getting D'd down, I'll be honest with you. So you don't want to end up being that woman. So it's a good realization, like self-realization to have, that is important to you. I'm being super serious, because then you can make decisions on your relationships based on making sure that that part of your life is satisfied. There's nothing wrong with that. Legit, I never been this angry and on edge lately, and I'm sure it's because I don't have fun in bed. I'm low-key obsessed with my ex because damn, he was good at it. Yes, I'm conflicted. My boyfriend is addicted to alcohol and weed and has so much traumas and turned me off, but I feel guilty because we will change. I did fantasize the whole relationship. I always think of my ex. Scorpios we are amazing in bed. Okay, that's okay. Okay. So we were correct in our, because you just sent these in as I was answering your message. But this means you can't go back. Okay, you can't go back. It's for real. You can't go back. What you did, what's happening is not a crime, that you were fantasizing about another man, but you can't go back. The relationship's done. Because you'll only dig yourself a deeper hole by going back. Changing is like, at this point, like, he can change for a different woman. Sometimes you have to accept someone's just not the right person for you. So if he wants to make those changes, he can make those changes and then be with someone else. But his time to change was, before. And I'm not saying that he's a bad person. We all make mistakes. We all go through things. But if this isn't working for you, then this isn't working for you. And you can't keep pretending like you're going to try and make it work when you're fantasizing about other men. I'm being super honest with you. Like, you're too far gone at that point to even, you're almost doing him and you a disservice by getting back into a relationship with him knowing you're so dissatisfied. Because when he's trying his best, like, you got to imagine too, like, he's going to be there trying his best to please you, trying to make all these changes, stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing weed. He's going to try to D you down, try to be better in bed. And then you're going to be sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm so dry. I literally wish I was with my ex right now. And like, you have to understand also for not just you, but for him, how painful that is when he's trying so hard and he doesn't do it for you. Some guys, they're just not going to do it for you. But being honest with yourself that a guy doesn't do it for you is an important realization to have, because you can't live your life having no pleasure as a woman. You'll be miserable. Even if the guy's rich, you'll be miserable. So you have to just realize how important that is to you. And you said, I am really dry. You have to understand how important that is to you, and just let that go and move on with your life and not spend so much time thinking about what if he changes, because he had his time to change. And you deserve to be happy sexually and not be fantasizing about being with someone else. I really mean that. Okay. All right. Wait, what the hell? We had some more to do with the hell. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, we had one more to do. This one's from God's favorite child. All right. He said he want to make things right. Hi, Tommy. Thank you for responding to my last question last week. He finally reached out and asked me to see me in person to talk and make things right after pulling away. I acted cold and said my schedule is available next week, and he immediately agreed to the date. He also asked me if I would like to sleep over that night too. No sleepovers! No sleepovers. We don't do that here. No sleepovers. Okay. Like you taught me that this man is trying to escape the fence, and I said, no, let's meet up first. We have a lot to catch up on. My question is, should I act cold when I see him in person that day? Should I allow him to kiss my lips or forehead to make him feel like he has been demoted? Shall I still allow us to hold hands like we used to? Okay, let me finish your question here. Once we sit down and talk properly, should I be honest and tell him how I feel or still hold back? Thank you so much. Okay, great question. Let me tell you exactly what to do. You first, okay, it's gonna sound weird. You have to come to the date like a drill sergeant. So I know you might like how well this is working. Don't make the mistake of showing him that this is working by letting him feel like this is working. What I mean by that is when you get to the date, you have to be like, I barely even want to be here. Okay? I'm agreeing to see you because you asked to see me. So this is the type of energy you have to bring. I know it sounds weird. When you sit down on the date, you have to sit down on the date with the, okay, tell me what you have to say. Show me why you're worthy of my time right now. So you shouldn't be doing a lot of talking. It should be very much, you asked me to see me and spend time with me, and let's see what you have to say. Do you have anything to say for yourself? What do you have to say? If you don't have anything to say, my time, there's nothing for me here, right? Because I didn't come here to sit here and just go back and forth about nothing. If you don't have nothing to say, I have no talking to do. I have no words to give, right? So to answer that question, that's the energy you bring. No kissing on the lips, right? So when you see him, you got to be a drill sergeant. If he tries to kiss you, oh, cheek. Now he's going to know something's wrong, okay? He's going to be like, damn, I really have to dig myself out of this hole. That's good. You want him to sit down from the beginning of that date feeling like he needs to dig himself out of this hole, feeling like he needs to explain himself, feeling like he needs to apologize for things, right? This is how you kind of nudge a man to give an apology without forcing him to apologize or saying you have to apologize. You give him that coldness, he's going to say, damn, I got it. Okay, I did this wrong. I was wrong about that. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. Because what we want to happen is when you finish that date, we want all you have to say is, okay. Because we want him to be saying, I did this wrong. I need to fix this. I apologize for this. That was wrong of me. I shouldn't have done this. I'm going to fix it by doing this. I'm going to make it up to you by doing that and that and that. And then when he finishes saying all that stuff, right, you just say, okay. And then you let him take action on that situation. That way, you don't have to beg for anything. You don't have to ask a million times. You don't even have to seem like you're bothered to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, if you don't pay attention to me, if you don't treat me right, then no one will. It's very much, you have to bring the energy very much like, look, if you think you have some explaining to do, then you can explain yourself. If you don't feel you have any explaining to do, then I'll go back home and I'll resume my life like I was resuming it. If you don't want to see me walk out that door, if you don't want to see me walk out of your life, then you'll figure out how to make this situation right. If you can't figure it out, too bad, so sad. Someone else will get a chance with me, right? That's got to be your drill sergeant approach. Now, if he capitulates apologizes, says the right things, and actually talks about an actionable plan and steps moving forward, then you can show him a little bit more of that softness at the end of the date. Don't cap it off by sleeping with him though, okay? Don't make him feel like he's, up in the clear completely. Let him still feel like, all right, he still has to show you these things over the course of time. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, chat. That's the show for today. I gotta run. I was already late, but I gotta run. For those of you who have any questions for me, whether it be in the free section, the premium section, or the private section, you can always ask me a question that way. Don't worry. Next on Thursday when I come back, I'll do some in the free section as well. All right. For those of you who are wanting to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen. It's also in the description if you guys are looking for and watching on YouTube. For those of you watching on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you missed some parts or you came late, you can always rewatch the show by going onto my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Tomisin. And then when you get on my YouTube page, go into the live section, you'll see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. Okay. Trying to think what else I have to say. I'm here every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was late today, like an hour late, because I have a new camera. I have a whole bunch of new stuff here for the show. So I apologize for that, but don't worry. We're going to start getting back on schedule here. No more funny business. All right. I'll see you guys on Thursday. And until we meet again, I bid you adieu. Arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam, baoni. Adios. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you.